rock and roll. This content is brought to you by Lair magazine. Are you a busy dungeon master without enough time to create content for your D&D game? Would you like professional, pre-made 5th edition adventures and other resources you can drag and drop into your existing campaign? If so, Lair magazine has exactly what you need. Every issue of Lair magazine comes with 2 5th edition adventures, maps designed for use on virtual tabletops, and other dungeon master resources. New monsters, puzzles, traps, magic items, NPCs, pre-made encounters, and more. Become a DM Lair patron today to get a new issue of Lair magazine every month, along with loads of bonus content, such as additional 5th edition adventures and map packs with even more digital maps. DM Lair patrons also get extra perks, such as playing in D&D games with me, voting on the videos I make, access to my VIP Discord channel, a monthly video hangout over Zoom, and more. Click that link below to learn more and become a DM Lair patron today. All right, there we go. Rock and roll. All right, we are on the starting soon screen. What's up, people? How's it going? I see a whole bunch of moderators in chat. Penguin Butt. Michael Iglesias, what's up, dude? How you doing, man? William, what's up? Felipe, hello. Goliath Clerics, lots of posting going on. Penguin Butt. Stream Elements is broken? It is? How is it broken? There it is. It's working. Oh, the bot just took a little bit of time to get going. Oh, nice. There it is. The dude arrives. What's up? This is where we say hi to everybody. We have a guest on stream for the first hour. You can hear him. Say hi.
Hey guys.
Yeah, but you can't see him. It's the suspense. We're just building up the tension here. We'll be like, who is this guest? Who is he? Who could he possibly be? So make sure you don't disappoint them, dude. So now we're building up the hype, man.
It's just the phantasmal voice from the beyond.
Easy peasy lemon squeezy says nachos. Oh yes, there are always nachos. I haven't actually. I had nachos like a week or 2 ago, 2 weeks ago or something. I think it's been a while. I don't eat nachos a whole lot.
Now, when you say nachos, do you mean just cheese and chips, or do you like do the whole?
Oh,
the beef,
no,
the
cheese
olives, the
whole thing. Are you kidding me? Yeah, you can't just do cheese and chips. That's what Taco Bell gives you, and you're like, really? Okay, this is why you're famous. You suck. No, dude, you got to do the nacho chips, and then on top of that goes. Usually I put refried beans on there, and then beef or chicken, one or the other usually. And then I have like black olives goes on there. Obviously cheese goes on there. What else? Salsa, obviously. Sometimes a little bit of lettuce, and it'll start out with a little bed. It just gets bigger and bigger and bigger. And then by the time I got the plate of nachos made, I'm like, I can't eat this. It's like I get through half of it and I'm stuffed. Usually I keep going though. Oh.
Now, see, myself and my friends who you met 3 of, all of us are culinarians, so expect very heavy judgment about your food choices.
Yeah, hold on a second. Talk to the screen.
Talk to the screen? All right. Hey, guys, I wish I could see who you are and what you're saying, but only Luke can see what you're saying. So,
yeah.
Apparently, we can hear his phone call. Oh, here you go.
My daughter called me, and my daughter never calls me. She always texts me, and so I was like, oh crap, this might be an emergency or something. It wasn't. I didn't respond to her text, so she called me.
Oh, she was worried.
Yeah. Well, I was like, she's calling me. This could be bad. And she's out right now, and it's like, the roads aren't bad, but I don't know. So I was like, this could be an emergency. I should probably answer this phone. Now, if it were my mom, I would just put her on live stream. Be like, hi, Mom. All right, let's get this show on the road here. What do we do when we start? Oh, yeah, we go to this screen. Whee! Right here. There we go. Does this work? There we go. Hello, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to the live stream. Tonight we are going to be doing some Q&A. We do have a guest on the stream, which you can kind of see him down in the corner over here. We'll get him bigger in a little bit. We'll blow him up and make him quite a bit bigger for you. So he and I will be chatting for the first hour of tonight. And then after that, we're going to jump into Q&A so you can throw your questions if you want. My moderators are always here, and they're always throwing stuff into the spreadsheet, keeping track of all the questions. So you can throw them now if you want, or you can wait until the next part when we actually solicit the questions. But anyway, that's the plan for tonight. We do have a giveaway going on. So if you want to win a D&D book or store credit on the DM Lair store, you can join the giveaway. One of our lovely moderators will throw a link in the chat. Penguin Butt says that Ed Robinson is an amazing human being. Oh, that's so touching. That's wonderful. Thank you, Penguin Butt. All right. Anyway, so we have a giveaway going on. Join the giveaway. And what else are we doing? Oh, we have a new charity as well. I will talk more about the charity in the second part. But basically, we're the charity, and they'll throw a link to the charity as well, is Canines for Warriors. Basically, what they do is they take money from people who donate to them, because that's what is the charity. And then they go to animal shelters and they rescue dogs, and they go to they called hide kill animal shelters. They rescue dogs that would probably just be euthanized, and then they turn them into service dogs for veterans who are struggling with PTSD. I think that's how you say that, PTSD. Yeah, that's the way to do it. And struggling with like other sorts of trauma, and their whole goal is to lower the suicide rate and help veterans with mental health and different sorts of things. So very, very cool. They're saving dogs that would otherwise probably be euthanized, and they're helping veterans. So we're trying to raise $500 for Canines for Warriors. Again, there's a link in the chat if you'd like to tip. All tips go directly toward them. We did reach our goal for All God's Children. We raised $525 for them. So thank you, folks, and we're on to our next charity, which is Canines for Warriors. So bingo bango. Yeah, that's good. That's all of our pre-plugs and stuff. Now we're going to go full screen with our special guest, and we're gonna talk about D&D for a little bit. All right, here we go. Whee! Wait, that's the wrong button. I clicked the wrong button. There we go. That's better. All right, ladies and gentlemen. David, welcome to the live stream, man. How you doing?
I am doing great. How you doing, Luke?
I am spectacular. I'm better than I was today at work, man. I'll tell you what. Long meetings and stuff, man. It's crazy stuff. So, yeah, got more tomorrow. How was your day job?
Well, I'm in the middle of training my replacement, so that's fun.
Oh, dude. So, I mean, ideally, you've given like 2 weeks notice or something, right? And you're planning to leave.
Yeah,
they were like, "Yo, well, you're gonna be fired, but before you go, plan the next guy."
Well, kind of yes and no. I was asked to resign.
Oh, dude, that sucks. I mean, yeah, sorry. Probably not the topic we ideally would have gotten into on the stream. So
no.
hopefully
That's fine.
Hopefully you got something. Hopefully you got something lined up, man. So
I've already got stuff in the works. So
awesome. That's great, dude. I'm glad to hear that. So yeah, now I feel crappy for bringing that conversation up.
Oh, so. Okay. Like I said, I'm a chef, and people always have to eat. So
cool. Oh, that's awesome. Like chef, like at what kind of like restaurants and stuff have you been a chef at and stuff?
Oh, I've done a lot of different stuff. Right now, I'm actually about to not anymore be the food service director for a rehab center
Okay.
in Western New York.
Okay, cool.
Inpatient rehab center.
Mhm.
But before that, I was the sous chef at a steakhouse. I've
What is
done
a sous
Caribbean
chef? What's a
cuisine.
sous chef?
Literally like the assistant to the executive chef. Like
Okay.
the way they put it is the exec is paid to think, the
Uh-huh.
sous is paid to make sure it gets done.
Nice. So you don't have to think. You're just like, all right, execute.
Yeah.
Nice.
I've done Caribbean, Italian, Greek. So
Oh, excellent. I love Mediterranean. Mediterranean food's really good. I love that crap. But I like it. I've had two different like flavors of Mediterranean food. There's one that tends to be like,
oh yeah.
it's called Mediterranean, but it feels more like Greek or I don't know what it is. It's got falafels and stuff like that. But there's another type of Mediterranean food that feels more Arabic. They have like a different, there's like a distinction, right?
Yeah, and for that matter, Sicilian food is also considered Mediterranean.
Okay.
So
Yeah.
I mean, Mediterranean has a lot of like subsets within it.
Okay. Yeah, because there was this one place near our house that had Arabic food, and it was very similar to the Mediterranean we were used to, but it had differences to it, and it was way better. Oh my gosh, it was so good. And then it looks like we recently went there like a few months ago or something. Nah, maybe almost a year ago, but they changed everything. It was like they got a new owner or something, and the Arabic like flavor to it or whatever was gone. Like the menu items were changed, and it was just a standard Mediterranean. And I was like, this sucks. Not coming here again. So yeah, I don't know what they did. It was disappointing. So we lose all of our best restaurants here. So we had this other one we just discovered like a month ago, literally, and then they closed. And they have a sign and their website and stuff says, due to an excess of caution, we are temporarily or permanently closed. So they just like decided to totally close down. And just like nobody's closing down where I am, but they were just like, I think they were probably struggling financially or something, and then they just decided to, I don't know. I have no idea. But anyway, hey, let's talk about D&D. How's that sound?
Yeah, that's good.
All right, sweet. So you were talking about one of the things you did when you were just starting out as a dungeon master, which I think it's interesting because you were like, oh yeah, this is the thing that I did that had undesirable consequences. And when you messaged me about it, I was like, dude, that's something that I think like 90%, if not almost all dungeon masters end up doing, so why don't you tell us a little bit about that?
Well, it was my first time DMing, so I'm like, oh, I don't want anyone to quit the game. I want everyone to like it. So I just start giving out wondrous items like they're candy. Like I was Santa Claus, and like I gave a level 3 character a short sword that was a +3 short sword that you could either add it to your +3 standard, or you could make it +3 to your AC and use it defensively. Like I gave this to a level 3 character.
Yeah, I mean that's a defender. That's like a defender short sword.
Yeah,
that's a thing. Yeah, and I think that's like very rare. It's like a very rare, I believe, which is usually, what is that, 15 plus or something?
Yeah.
So it's something like that. Yeah.
And just like random stuff like that. I gave my wizard like a spell book that had like a whole ton of spells that he had not previously had access to. I gave like just like crazy stupid stuff.
Yeah.
And I had started with the one that starts in Falandin, and they fight the white dragon and all that kind of stuff at the end. And because I wanted to add flavor, I decided to make the white dragon a daddy and have it have a wormling. Suffice to say, my ranger passed the check to make the wormling a pet.
Oh, dude.
Yeah. And so now, fast forward a year and a half, I now have a party with an average level of 10.
Mm-hmm.
Got a couple 11s, a couple 9s, and some 10s in there. That can just like, without exaggeration, take on a CR14 and drop it in 2 rounds or less. Just like, and you're dead.
One CR14 creature?
Yeah.
Oh, I would expect them to be able to drop that really quickly, honestly. Like, if you have 10, how many, you got 5 players?
Yeah.
Yeah, they're level 10. Oh, yeah, they're going to make short work of a CR14. Like, that's probably like if you punch the math on the CR14, it might be a hard for them, maybe. But because there's only one of them, that, usually it's going to be a surround and pound. They'll just swarm it. They'll get around it. They'll lock it down. It can't move. And then they just unload on it. Yeah. So
they took out about a month ago. I wasn't expecting it to be a challenge, but I was expecting it to. They took on I modified a 3.5 greater fire elemental.
Okay.
It's not in the 5e, but
yeah.
I switched it over, and I'm like, oh, this will just be fun, whatever. Might last a round or two. They had it in 3 turns. It was just gone.
3 turns. So 3-player turns gone.
Yeah.
What did they do to it? Damage output?
Yeah, it was stunned. It was, and
wait, they stunned it?
Huh?
Did you say they stunned it?
No, they just destroyed it.
Oh, okay.
It was done. It was gone. And the one person's like, I didn't even get a turn. Do you feel that your players were enjoying that though, where they're just demolishing stuff, or did you? Yeah. So what I kind of do is I try to put combat into every session, but for most of it, it's just something they can just take out with no problem. It's just there for flavor, and because it is D&D, and I don't like them to have a session where there's no action at all. So I try to throw a little something in every session, and then about every 3 or 4 sessions they'll have like a fight, like a good fight.
So do you find that your players tend to enjoy the other elements then more, like exploration and social interactions and stuff, as opposed to combat?
Actually, my guys, they're super lore heavy, so they want to know like the history. They want to do the interaction. So almost everyone at my table is a DM in their own right as well of another game.
Okay.
So they're like, they just spent time in Baldur's Gate, and they just wanted to know everything.
Yeah.
And that's what really makes the game for them.
Okay, so that sounds like exploration, the exploration element for sure, where they're just they're poking around, they're investigating, they're finding things out, they're discovering lore and information and stuff, and it just really, so their curiosity is what drives them, Right. So yeah, that's really cool. That's interesting.
But it's sometimes super frustrating though, because like I'll think I have this really cool combat set up for them, and then it's like, okay, I was expecting that to last, good half hour, 45 minutes, and it's 10 minutes later.
Well, after a few times of happening, right, you just start ratcheting it up,
Yep.
Just go up higher and higher and higher until you can start to see them like, oh crap, crying for mercy, and then throwing in minions, multiple bad guys, different enemy types, some warrior frontliners, some archers, a couple spellcasters, at least a couple spellcasters, because your wizard's going to counterspell the first one, so you need to have another one that can actually cast spells, so
Lair actions have become my friend.
Yep, lair actions are great. Legendary actions too, dude, because it's like, I love that crap, because even if I roll bad initiative, guess what? I'm still going second, because I'm gonna go right after your first PC. So yeah, it's really good.
for Christmas, I found a one shot where they got to fight Krampus.
Fight who?
Krampus.
Krampus. I'm not familiar with that.
He's a Eastern European. He's kind of like the anti-Santa.
Okay.
He like comes and punishes the bad children.
Okay, cool.
So I found actually a friend of mine, as a Christmas present, sent me this one shot where people get to fight Krampus, and I did it with my guys, and it had like crazy legendary actions. And even though, I mean, they walked it, it wasn't really that hard of a challenge, but it was fun because at one point they're like, "He hits me again? What?" I'm like, "Yeah, legendary actions, man."
Dude, I remember like some of the first times in my groups where they didn't know anything about legendary actions. I started using them, and they're like, "Wait, what's going on? Well, how could he do that?" You know what I mean? And it's a little bit of a freak out, I guess. You know. So.
Yeah, I like the Lair actions because they bring the whole like environment into the fight.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's definitely cool. And it's always initiative count 22, so you can always count on something cool happening there. I found a monster recently that didn't have any layer actions. It didn't have any legendary resistances either. It was a CR 24 monster out of Tome of Beasts, and it didn't have legendary resistances or any layer actions, and it's an arc devil. It's one of the arc devils in Tome of Beasts.
Really?
Yeah, and I was prepping for my last game session with my group, and I was like, this is really weird. Like, they didn't have layer, and all the other arc devils in Tome of Beasts, they have layer actions and legendary resistances. And so I was like, this is really weird. I wonder if this is a mistake and they errated it. And so I literally got the errata and looked it up, and there was no errata on it. So they just planned it that way. And I was like, that's really, I didn't think that was good design, in my opinion, because a boss without legendary resistances, especially at level CR 24. Now his saves were amazing. Like I could almost not fail any of my saving throws. Their saves are really good, but still it was like, yeah, and no leverage. So I built in legendary actions, and I did not give him legendary resistances though. I just decided, you know what? It's not in the stat block. We're gonna see what happens. And I almost TPK'd the group the first time. 3 of them died and 2 ran away. And then they got reinforcements and they came back in and they managed to defeat the guy. But it was rough for them, even without legendary resistances. So yeah, but it was a cool fight. Yeah, it was interesting to find a monster that didn't have those. So
yeah, that's actually really, really weird. But I mean, if they just made him like impossible to destroy, I guess that's the other way to go with it.
Yeah, except that it only takes one saving throw on the wrong thing for the whole fight to go south. I remember there was one group, there's some high level spell that basically creates a figment in a monster's mind, and if they fail their saving throw, I think they have to like flee or something and they can't come back. It's a really high level spell. I think it's some sort of like dragon types. I don't remember what it was, but anyway, it totally altered the course of the combat completely. But this was my fault though, because they were fighting a dragon that I had created, and the dragon had legendary resistances. I forgot to use it. You know, which happens. It happens all the time, where you're like, every dungeon master is like, yeah, I forget to use half of the stuff my monsters can do. You know, so I forgot to use the legendary resistance, and I had the spell affecting the dragon they were fighting, and then I think it was probably the next round or later, I was like, oh crap, I should have used that. That was really stupid of me. You know,
I love when you see the sheet out of the corner of your eye, and you're just like, about halfway through the battle, and you're just like, your monster's just getting beat up, and then you're like, oh, wait a minute, he can do what? Oh, that's right.
Yeah. that happened with the Arc Devil my group was fighting too, because it has an aura where if anybody starts their turn within 30 feet of it, they have to make like a DC 23 wisdom saving throw, you know, or they're frightened, which is...
That's a big aura.
Yeah, it's crazy. It's crazy big. And being frightened means that you can't go closer to the thing, and you have disadvantage on your attacks against it, which it's huge. It's a huge, and I forgot to use it the entire fight. I literally got to like, it was like toward the very end of the fight, and I was like, I think this was at roll 20, so I literally had a green aura around it on roll 20, and either I saw that aura finally and I was like, wait a second, what's that? No! Or I saw it in the book because I was looking at its stuff and I saw it and I was like, oh geez, because that would have made a big difference in that battle, you know? So you always wonder, you know, if players know that, because they had 2 battles, remember, against this Archdevil. The first one,
right.
The first one, I remembered to use the aura for most of it, I think. The second one I forgot. So you got to wonder, like, did the players remember that it had an aura, but we're just like, don't tell Luke, man, or they just forgot too. They probably just forgot. And even if they intentionally didn't tell me, I wouldn't hold it against them. You know, it's like,
hey, if you forgot, that's your fault.
It's not their job. It's not their job to tell me what my monsters can do. Yeah. It's the same way, like if one of your players is like, their character can do something, and then, you know, the next turn they're like, oh man, I forgot I could do this. It's like, well, it's too late, dude. You need to know what your character can do. So the same applies to me. So
another thing I've done to kind of rein them in a little bit, is, you know, I've taken the whole, you know, with great power comes great responsibility, and I've made them more or less the guardians of this town. And like, they now sit on the town council. They actually had a whole session where they're just sitting in a town council meeting, and so their actions have ramifications. And so they're always in the back of their head. They're like, okay, now if I just go and I, you know, go on a murderous rampage, how's that gonna affect? Yeah.
I mean, that's the classic way to deal with murder hobos, is to have their actions have consequences in the game. You know?
Oh, I'm not saying they are. I'm just using that like an example. Like,
oh no.
You know?
Yeah, I got you. You just sparked something else in my brain, I guess. So.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. That's cool. Did we want to see if anybody in the chat had, what did you, if you have some stories to share with us, things that you did? I want to see if we can get some really good stories here. What did you do when you were a new dungeon master, first time or very new at it? What mistakes did you make that you regretted, or that really screwed you over, or I don't know, something? I'm sure we've all done the whole too many magic items thing, you know. But I'm curious what other things we get in there. I think when I was first doing, I don't remember anything before 5th edition. I remember very little. But I know when I first started doing 5th edition, I played the game for a little bit, and then I started DMing 5th edition, and I know I made a lot of rules mistakes, you know. And I had one of my players in my very first games. He knew a lot of the rules, and he was always telling me, Luke, that's not how that works. Luke, look at this. So a lot of times that was useful. Bruh says, first time DM, no mistakes, I'm perfect. I call bull crap on that. Ed says he ran his first D&D game 42 years ago. I don't remember my mistakes. Yeah. Oh. Fred says
42 years. Wow.
42 years. Yeah. We actually at LairCon we determined how long he had been playing D&D. He's been running D&D for 1 year longer than I've been alive. So he's got like crazy amounts of experience. He's our lead developer on our Lair magazine stuff too.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, he's just crazy information in his head. It's amazing. Yeah.
Yeah, I was not very smart, but you know, I've been loving it, and I'm so glad I made a really stupid move. So I had like I was brought up kind of like super like sheltered and like can't play D&D. That's the devil's game, you know?
Yes. It's very much the devil's game. Yes.
And I had finally agreed to play a game with a friend of mine. And we played 2 games, and then something happened with his job, and he had to stop DMing.
Mm-hmm.
And I didn't know anyone else who played. And I'm like, okay, well, screw it. I'm going to get a book, and I'm going to run a game. So I had only actually played twice.
Yeah.
And then I'm DMing. And that's actually the game that I'm still running.
Oh, really? Oh,
2
nice.
years later. Yeah.
Okay, so that was fairly recently then. Nice.
Yeah.
Yeah, but you know, it's like I feel like a lot of dungeon masters start that way, you know. It's like either they play a little bit and then the game falls apart and they really want to play and so they start it themselves like you did, you know what I mean? Or they just get the books and then they have never run it before and they get their friends together, you know. And then they just run a game for their friends and they have no idea what they're doing and they just figure it out. So,
and it's kind of cool because since then it has like spawned all these other games. Like almost every player at my table now runs another game out somewhere.
Oh, cool.
And it's pretty cool.
Yeah. So did they start playing with you and they weren't DMs at all, but then after playing
Not
with you...
one of them. One of them had
Okay.
DM'd in the past, but
Okay.
but yeah, none of them had ever really played. Another one knew how to play, but wasn't like in a game or anything.
Okay, but so at least except for the one, they started playing D&D with you and then became dungeon masters afterwards.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's sweet. Yeah. It's cool, right, when people become dungeon masters, because like if we don't have dungeon masters, we don't have a hobby. It goes away. You know what I mean? So that's always really cool that people get inspired and do that, you know. So that's awesome. I think one of my players, I have some players who are already dungeon masters who have played before, but I think one of them had never DM'd before. At least one of them. Current players. I've had past players too that fit this, but he had never DM'd before, and then he's done it a few times. So yeah, it's always cool to see that happening, you know, when they go off and become dungeon masters. So we had some more posts in here. Patrick Berkey says 34 years running and playing, regret not allowing players to die when they earned it in their early years. Yes. Yeah. I'm guilty of probably saving some players from death. Now I don't care so much.
Well, you want to save your little babies, right? It's like you almost get, well, not as invested, but you get invested in their characters too. So it's,
yeah.
I mean, I've had a couple that I haven't minded, you know, okay, they need to die.
Yeah.
But
yeah,
no, go ahead.
No, go finish your thought, dude.
Well, I had one guy who developed a character who, you know, in game was just a complete douche, and when it was time for him to die, it was time for him to die.
So the player was okay, but the character he created was just crap.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's like, okay, he's got to go.
Yeah. I definitely think there are some characters I can think of offhand that I would not want them to die. You know what I mean? Like it would just be like, it would be unenjoyable for me because I like the character so much, you know. Like in my Ancient Dragon campaign, I'm just thinking off the top of my head, there's a character called Kasim who is amazing. I love that character. And then in my Curse of Strahd game, Stefan is amazing. And then also Brotlord is really cool. So yeah, there are definitely some characters offhand that I can think of. And we had, like, for my Sword Coast Guard game, we had Nigel and Sebastian. Nigel especially. I don't think he died. Did he? Oh, he did die. Wait, did he die? I don't remember. I can't remember. But I totally get that. Like, there are some characters that even you as a dungeon master become attached to, you know. And so there's always this feeling, like, especially recently in my Ancient Dragon campaign, when they were going to TPK the first time, I was like, I I hate that crap. Like, I don't want them to TPK. You know what I mean? I don't want their characters to die and have to go through all that. You know what I mean? I want them to win. Like, that's my honest desire, is that they win. But I'm gonna give them, you know, what they signed up for, which is a challenging game in certain parts of it. You know what I mean? And
Right.
if it happens, it happens. Like, I'm gonna play the enemies to win. You know. But there's the part of me that doesn't want that to happen. That wants the characters to succeed. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
So.
Well, I never want to see a TPK happen,
Mm-hmm.
and I'll avoid a TPK at all costs. But I'll kill a player. Like, it's, you know, they're adventuring. It's a thing. You know, they're doing a dangerous job. So it's only natural that one of them's going to drop here or there. But the TPK is just so crap.
Yeah. I think I've had 3 TPKs in 5th edition. Yeah, I think I've had a total of 3 of them. And yeah, it's never super exciting. But it's almost like a necessary evil, you know, because if you want there to be that feeling of, like, you know, real tension and thrill, you know, that like we could die if we don't do this properly, like this is a possibility. But if they know death's off, because here's the thing, if only a couple players die, they're just gonna get resurrected, raised dead, revivify. It's not a big deal. They know that. Everybody knows that death is meaningless in 5th edition unless everybody dies, you know. So if that's not on the table, then there isn't really any death. You know, it's somebody dying during an adventure is a temporary setback, you know, until you can get them resurrected, basically, you know. So yeah, so I allow it, and it happens from time to time, but it's never super exciting for me. You know, I'd rather they succeed. You know, but I'm not going to manipulate it to make sure that they succeed. So.
The one member of their party who I refuse to kill is the member of their party that I created. It started out as an NPC, and now it's under the control of one of my players.
Yeah.
And it's he is a druid, but he is the local bishop of Timora. He's a druid with a negative wisdom modifier. Yeah, tell me how that works. Like I said, I created him for flavor and for fun, right? So he's a druid with a negative wisdom modifier. And he's got like special features and stuff. He's modeled after Forrest Gump. His name is Woodsy Grump.
Okay.
And he's kind of a player in their party, but more like a pet of the party.
Yeah.
And I absolutely refuse to kill Woodsy.
Yeah, I had that sounds similar to my Gary the Intern that I made for like one of my groups. The original group where Gary the Intern appeared was for a Wonder Panic campaign that I ran at work, and he was basically a pet. You know, he was like an NPC, but he was the party's pet. Everybody loved him and stuff. You know, they promised to promote him and they made him an intern, and they'd be like, well, you know, if you do really well, you know, you'll get a 401k and all this stuff and all this. So it was the party's pet. And like for that game, he pretty much had plot armor. You know, he didn't contribute to any combats. He did no damage. He was this wussy little kobold, you know. So yeah, he had plot armor. And in that game, he didn't die. Now, Gary the Intern has come into other games, and in many of them, he died very quickly, you know, so that's life. But for that game, at least, yeah, I was like, I'm not killing Gary the Intern. He's too cool.
So my player who controls Woodsy just texted me that he is not a pet.
He's not a pet? But it sounds like they treat him like a pet, though.
I mean, yeah. For lack of a better term, yeah.
Well, if they treat him like a pet, then it kind of makes him a pet.
But it's Yeah, it's interesting what we get attached to, and what like the weirdest things are what become these, arcing plot hooks that like you were expecting to go, left for the next, 5 months, and all of a sudden you're going right.
So. Yeah, it does that. That happens so much, I know right now in my Ancient Dragon game, that's exactly what's happening. We were doing this whole thing with like the Fae and demons and stuff. That was the whole part of the early campaign. And then they've recently, through a series of events, have found themselves in a new plane of dread called the Dark Shards. And the whole idea, they had one simple objective. There was a MacGuffin in the Dark Shards that they had to retrieve. That's it. And that was to solve another problem that they had caused themselves. And they just need to go in, get the MacGuffin, and get out. Well, the Dark Shards has like 9 champions of the Dark Lord that lives there. And they went into the Dark Shards, found out that all of the populace is being really heavily oppressed by these 9 champions that are all over the place. And they decided to go to the nearest Dark Bastion of one of those 9 champions of Zitrith and kill him. They're like, we're going to wipe everybody out. We're just going to kill them all because they're oppressing the people, And I think that they're probably going to go to all 9 of them and kill them all. And then probably take on Zitrith as well. And they're level 11, and taking on each of these 9 champions is pretty much a milestone. So that's gonna carry you through pretty much the entire campaign. They're just gonna go in and kill them all. That's what they want to do. And so to your point, we started out one way, and then the whole campaign is shifting in a different direction. So I don't know. I don't mind it. I don't mind that sort of thing. Like, cause I have like an initial idea of what a campaign's going to be about, but if it goes somewhere else and that somewhere else is really cool, I mean, shoot, I'll make dungeons in the Dark Shards. It doesn't matter to me. I'm still making dungeons, so.
Right. Right now. So, I'm running a hybrid homebrew and canon game. So I get the books and everything, and I use it as inspiration, but the whole backdrop is all homebrew. And they're using elements of Tyranny of Dragons. They're using elements of they started out with Essentials kit. They're using elements from a bunch of stuff, and the occasional one shot that gets brought in and stuff like that. And right now they're on an arc that runs through Tyranny of Dragons. They're headed down to the High Wood, right? And from stuff that's purely homebrew that's been brought in, there's been this orc army that's been like marauding through at the same time, and I've like linked it into the story. And they've come through 2 towns on their way down to the High Wood that the orc army has already gone through. And the last 3 sessions has just been them like trying to help rebuild these towns. Like they reconstructed 2 bridges and stuff like that. It's
like I would be like, dude, why don't you go stop the orc army? Because they're just gonna keep tearing down more towns. Hello. Jeez.
Well, the problem is the orc army's heading north, and they're on a very specific mission headed south.
Okay.
So they can't like stop and turn around and go chase these guys down.
And yet they have time to help rebuild the town. that okay.
And they just eliminated a warlock that kind of had the one town's government under its thumb. They took care of this warlock, got her out of the way, and tried to raid her tower for everything that was in it. I decided to make the tower, crumble around them so that they couldn't get too much stuff. But
yeah, so they had a battle against that warlock.
Yeah.
Okay. Sweet.
Completely unexpected. Like, I definitely, I rarely have to stop the game, but this was a moment where I had to go, okay, you guys got to give me a minute.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. Well, for something like that, it's like the leader of the town. So you need to go out and get a stat block for the warlock, decide if she has any minions or something, probably think of a map you could make or something for if you guys use grid and minis, you know. So yeah.
So the town was like, because they had rebuilt the bridge for this town, the town's like honoring them and cheering them, and the warlock comes in and is like, well, they're servants for this deity, and their deity and my deity have beef, so now I have beef with them. So they ended up fighting in the tavern.
Oh, in the tavern?
Warlock.
Okay.
Yeah.
Did they cast fireball in the tavern?
No, none of them did that.
Burn it down and have to rebuild the tavern too.
Yeah, but it turns out like now the town is like thrilled because, you know, the warlock, like I said, nobody liked her.
Yeah.
She was there because she was the most powerful person in the area. So yeah, what exactly are you going to do about it?
Did they, in the power vacuum that was left when she left, did they try to install themselves as the rulers in that town?
This was just the last session, and we stopped right after they killed her. They haven't left the town yet.
Okay, excellent.
The town does have a Lord Mayor. But the Lord Mayor was kind of a figurehead.
Okay, well, all right. So your players are watching this live stream, right? Or some of them?
They are.
Perhaps? Okay, cool.
Yes.
Okay, so David's players, listen very carefully. You want to install yourselves as the rulers of that town. Now, that mayor, the figurehead mayor, could just be your puppet. Okay, they're there. They take care of the day-to-day. You're the true powers. All right, so that's what you want to do there. Okay, and then you could probably start conscripting an army, getting some, you know, and then you get ready to go after that orc army that you're all ignoring, that you shouldn't be, because it's just going to cause trouble down the line, you know. So that's the next steps. All right, there you go. I just gave you.
I appreciate that. Not really.
Now you have to deal with your players taking over the town. All right, I actually did that once. This was a game. One of my players ran a game for us, a short little campaign years back, and we literally, the mayor of the town was a bad person, and we had to defeat them. And then the very first thing, I think I had a dwarf. My dwarf was trying to be like, okay, elect me as your new mayor, basically. Like, we just killed the old one. I should be, or we should be, or, you know. And they didn't like that. They didn't want to elect us as the mayor, or as the rulers or whatever. And I'm not sure if that was because the town didn't want it, or because the dungeon master didn't want to deal with me being a mayor of a town. So, but it didn't work out for us.
Well, they're already running Falendon. They don't need two towns.
Who's that? Your players?
Yeah, like I said, they've been installed as members of the city council for the first town that they've been based out of.
Yep.
So they're already, you know, they're running one down.
Yeah,
but then again, my wizard has told me that, you know, of course, as in every D&D game, the players have a secret chat that I'm not part of.
Oh yeah.
And I have been alerted that it is their plan to destabilize the entire political theater of Faroon.
Oh, nice. Yeah, the whole secret chat that you're yeah. I don't know if my players do that or not.
I guarantee they do.
You think so? Okay.
Absolutely.
Yeah, it could be. Yeah, I don't know. It's just sometimes you come into a game session and like a couple of the players have no idea what's going on, you know? And it seems like if they did have a secret chat where they're all talking about things, they'd have a better idea of where things left off and what's going on, you know? So, I don't know.
It also doesn't help that 3 of them work together.
No, so they just get
at
together.
A place where I used to work.
Nice. They just get
So-
together and they talk about D&D.
Yeah.
How can we derail his campaign and take over more towns and stuff?
The game I was in that fell apart.
Uh-huh.
That we had a oh shoot, what's it called? Discord. Yeah.
Okay.
We had, you know, our game Discord channel. We also created another channel that was titled Derail the DM. And it was everyone except the DM in it.
Sweet.
But the name of it was Derail the DM.
Pretty obvious, pretty blatant. Oh, in the chat, Ed says that he knows his players have a secret player chat because his wife tells him what they're all saying in the chat because his wife is a player. So she just tells him.
Double agent.
Yes, totally. I don't want to know what my players are saying, you know, because then I have to like read it and keep up with it and keep track of it. You know what I mean? I would rather they just do their own thing, and then if they have something they're gonna do, they come tell me, you know, and then I deal with it. So,
well,
yeah.
My guys really dropped the ball at one point because this is about maybe 4 or 5 sessions ago. We're in the middle of combat, and my monk looks over at my wizard, and they're two of the ones that work together. My monk looks over at my wizard and goes, "Hey, should we do that thing now?"
Yeah, but they didn't say what the thing was, right?
And they just kind of like shared a look, and then like some crazy stuff happened.
So they did do it then?
Yeah.
What was the thing?
Oh, the thing was the druid Woodsy. They turned him into a giant eagle, had him like take the monk off and kind of like drop him on top of the bad guy, while the wizard, I think, cast 12 person or something like that.
Yeah.
Like it was definitely this orchestrated 3-player combo attack.
Oh, nice. Oh, that's cool though, you know.
It was cool.
Yeah. They got like a combo attack. Yeah. I don't know if I've had players do something like that before. Or they plan some crazy thing like that. Yeah. That's sweet though. I mean, and especially if they're in the chat and they're talking about it at work and stuff, you know, that just tells you that they're really engaged in that game. You know what I mean? And they're having fun and they're enjoying it, you know, and stuff. So that's really cool. Yeah. And when you guys all came on to play D&D with us for the one shot and stuff, I could definitely tell that you guys all had some chemistry, you know, of the gaming group that plays together and has fun together and stuff, you know. So that was really cool. Yeah.
It's kind of weird because I was all of their boss before I left to where I'm working now. I was their boss first.
Nice.
But
is that how you got them to play? You're like, "Hey guys, I'm running a D&D game. Do you want to join?" And they're just like, "He's our boss. If we say no, that could affect our work." Okay, we'll play.
No, we had at the place I used to work at the steakhouse. Our whole team was like the true definition of a team. Like we would hang out, like hosting parties, stuff like that. So I was their boss, you know, during work hours. But that was it.
Yeah, that's cool. All right, we got a couple of minutes left. Any parting words for folks? Any DM advice?
Any DM advice?
Don't give out too many magic items.
Well, one last thing that I've learned is if I do want to give them something special, because I still like giving them special things, because you gotta keep it interesting. Attach consequences to those things, rather it be curses, rather it be in order to use it they might have to, you know, do something first, you know, consequences are an amazing element to the game. I have found that out over time.
Yeah, so there's a positive thing, but there's also a drawback to it, and they got to pay the price. Yeah,
Right.
And they got to think, is it worth it or not? Yeah, I totally have some players who love that crap, you know, and are just like, oh yes, it does this cool thing, but pain and suffering, you know. So yeah, sweet. All right, David, it has been awesome. Thank you so much for coming on stream.
It's been fun.
Yep, we're gonna do a cat strike here and then jump into Q&A. So have a wonderful evening and enjoy playing with your players. Like I said before, you guys have an awesome group. So really cool to hear that you guys are all enjoying and taking over town after town. Oh, I did have one parting piece of advice for your players. So if you want to introduce this political change Faerun's political makeup, right? This was my thought. This orc army is marauding and marching from town to town. If you go in the orcs' wake, right, what you're gonna find is a bunch of destroyed towns and then remnants of survivors, okay? You can organize those survivors into the town and install yourselves as rulers of those towns. The town has been decimated. There are survivors. They're looking for leadership. You could be that leader, right? You just need to have like NPCs that you can install as puppets, you know, because you can't be everywhere at once, you know. And you could slowly take over all of Faerun, and that orc army is basically just kind of goes before and destroys things. So anyway, I had that thought, you know, it'd be pretty cool. Yeah, David hates me now. He's like, thanks, Luke. Just that sucks. So, all right, man. Well, thanks for coming on. Have yourself a wonderful evening, dude.
Oh yeah, you'll see me in the chat stream shortly after I log out of here.
All right, sweet. We'll see you there. Take it easy, man.
Talk to you later.
Yep. Bye. Oh, Zoom wants me to update. I'm not updating you, Zoom. All right, ladies and gentlemen, let me get myself situated here. I gotta change a few things. There we go. Get this guy over here. All right. Okay, cool. We are going to do a cat strike. This content is brought to you by Lair Magazine. Sorry. Those are the wrong screens. I gotta get all these screens fixed again. All right, we can do our cat strike though. We're gonna do a cat strike right now, and then we are going to get into Q&A. So I see there's some questions. I see that there are some questions already, but you can start throwing some more questions. Before our cat strike, a word from our sponsors. This content is brought to you by Lair Magazine. Are you a busy dungeon master without enough time to create content for your D&D game? Would you like professional, pre-made 5th edition adventures and other resources you can drag and drop into your existing campaign? If so, Lair Magazine has exactly what you need. Every issue of Lair Magazine comes with 2 5th edition adventures, maps designed for use on virtual tabletops, and other dungeon master resources. New monsters, puzzles, traps, magic items, NPCs, pre-made encounters, and more. Become a DM Lair patron today to get a new issue of Lair Magazine every month, along with loads of bonus content, such as additional 5th edition adventures and map packs with even more digital maps. DM Lair patrons also get extra perks, such as playing in D&D games with me, voting on the videos I make, access to my VIP Discord channel, a monthly video hangout over Zoom, and more. Click that link below to learn more and become a DM Lair patron today. This is awesome. I've literally, like, I only had 3 cats down here. And I'm literally just I shake their treat box. And I now have 6 of them swarming down here. I could hear them from upstairs pounding down the stairs, coming down to get the treats. All right, let's get these guys hooked up. Yes. Oh, I want to turn that off. Yeah, hold your horses. Jeez. Oh, we have all 7 of them. You guys, we have all 7 of them. Wow. Yes, calm down. Holy crap. Little girl. Orange, what's up, buddy? Birdie. All right. All right, I'll be right back. Mommy, come get the food. That laser pointer is distracting them. Orange is always in the box. Ambers, what's up? Owen, how you doing, buddy? Quasums. I'm back, dude. I'm back. Silver Phoenix, hello! Clearly he is a warlock and gains power from the cats, and the treats are sacrifices. They only get their treats once a week, basically, when we do live streams. So I just gave them a mound of treats, but they only get it once a month. Once a week. So yeah, I don't feel bad about that. Jonathan Schmidt, what's up, dude? How you doing, buddy? Robert Young, hello. What's up, dude? Okay, cool. Also, let's see. Goliath Cleric, dude, thank you so much for the $50 tip going to K9. Oh, geez, now I'm forgetting. I gotta learn to speak. K9s for Warriors. Thank you so much, dude. I really appreciate that. We're gonna get into that in a little bit here. Basically, we are raising money for K9s for Warriors. They are a charity that helps veterans who are suffering from PTSD and other sorts of trauma, and they basically get them service animals, service dogs that help them. K9s for Warriors' goal is to reduce veteran suicide, which apparently is, they have stats on their site that was kind of high and shocking. So very, very cool that they're helping with that. Basically, they get service dogs. They rescue dogs from high kill shelters where they would probably be euthanized, and then they rehabilitate them and train them, I presume, to be service animals for veterans to help them with, you know, mental health and all that kind of stuff. So very, very cool. We were trying to raise a bunch of money for them. Glide Cleric tipped $50. Really appreciate that. Kirby also tipped $50. Thank you so much, dude. Really, really appreciate that. That puts us like $100 already for Canines for Warriors. Very, very appreciative. Terry Southard, thank you for the $4.99 super chat. I appreciate that. Mountain Oasis, thank you for the $5. Really appreciate that. Oh, that was a $5 tip as well. So Mountain Oasis, $5 tip that goes toward Canines for Warriors as well. Terrace Johnson, thank you for becoming a member. Really appreciate that. Members do get priorities in their questions, by the way. So, you know, you'll get your little special color in the spreadsheet. So I make sure I answer your questions and all that kind of good stuff. So welcome to membership, dude. And Owen Davies, what's up, dude? Thank you for the super chat, man. I appreciate that. He says, tired mod here. Just keeping the Eldritch Abomination trapped in the ground with my weekly patronage. I don't know, dude. It's starting to escape, but we're trying to keep him down, man. Penguin Butt says, if you're mean to the kitties, you get to meet the wrench. What did somebody say about the poor kitties? Jarvis Schaefer, hello, what's up, dude? Welcome, dude. You're coming back to D&D? Excellent. It's a wonderful time to come back, dude, because it's always a fun hobby. Yeah. Don't buy the new book, though. The multiverse book, you don't want to buy that. What is that called? What is the name of that book again? It's like some multiverse book. I was just talking with some people in chat about how it has nothing new in it. All the cats are gone. Where did they go? Where did they go? Oh no. Oh no. Yeah, we were talking about, what is it? What's the name of that book? The Guide to the Multiverse or something? Oh, Mordenkainen's Monsters of the Multiverse. Mordenkainen's Monsters of the Multiverse. Okay, so apparently pictures of the inside of the book got leaked. And what is it? I forget the name of it. There's a YouTuber, Nerd Immersion. He did a video or something, and he somehow got his hands on a bunch of the leaked pictures, and he did a video talking about it or something. I didn't watch his video, but Bob the World Builder did a video on the Mordenkainen's Monsters of the Multiverse, and he literally went through the table of contents to see all of the monsters that were in the multiverse book, and he was comparing them with monsters that had already been published. And guess what? There's like 260 monsters in the multiverse book, and guess how many monsters are new? Like 1 or 2 monsters, like not exaggerating. Like 259 monsters have already been published in like Volo's Guide to Monsters or Mordenkainen's Tome of Foes, and the multiverse book is just republishing them. Now don't worry, they did make some changes. The alignments, my understanding is the alignments have been removed from the stat blocks, and they have put in proficiency bonuses to the stat blocks, and I believe they've reworked some of the spellcasting features so that they're a little bit perhaps easier to run at the game table. But overall, they're the same monsters, ladies and gentlemen. So probably not a book worth buying would be my guess. I don't know. That's my gut guess. And I think you can, I was talking to somebody else, and they were saying that you can only get it as part of a 3-book pack. So you literally have to get, you can't just buy it alone. You have to get it bundled with 2 other books, which, what are the 2 other books? Xanathar's Guide to Everything and Tasha's Cauldron, right? And so like you can't even just buy it by itself. It's a part of a bundle, which is, how much is the bundle? $120, $160 or something. So yeah, I don't know, man. Clearly not something I'm buying, if you couldn't tell. It'll be released on its own later in the year. Yeah. Penguin Butt, what's infuriating? Didn't Treasury of Dragons try to retcon the multiverse creation myth? Well, no, that's interesting, AJ Silver Radio. The Treasury of Dragons, Fizzbonds, does contain the mythological story of the creation of the multiverse, as it has to do with Tiamat and Biamut or something like that. I forget. Actually, I'm playing a character that worships Biamut or whatever, and I don't know how to say her name. And then there was the other dragon, the one that became the gem dragon when its essence got destroyed. But there was, I believe, wasn't there a progenitor dragon or something before the three of them or something? I can't remember. But the point is, yes, Fizzbonds has like the creation story along those lines or whatever. I don't know if it was retconned. It wouldn't surprise me if it was changed from. They like to change lore on us. They just like to change lore. You know, it was like, oh yeah. What's my favorite? My favorite lore change that they did was Ed, you know what it is. What's the race in 5th edition that is really good for druids that they totally changed? It used to be like a giant, basically. Furbolg. Okay. Classic change. The Furbolg did not used to be what they have it currently in 5th edition. It was a giantkin. It was literally a giant. Like, and it was really cool. I liked them. I thought they were awesome. And then they just decided to totally change them to be some druid thing. I don't understand that, because you could have just made a new species instead of taking the Furbolg and changing them. I don't understand these things. I don't know the reasoning behind them. Because you're taking something that somebody thinks is cool and you're crushing it, when you could have just made something new and given it a different name. They're not out of names. They can't be running out of names. They can't be. I don't see how you run out of names. Just put syllables together, vowels, consonants, it works. All right, I gotta turn some of my cameras back on. Stand by. I gotta turn some cameras on. Oh, that's what I need to do. I need to, you know what I forgot to do? Hold on a second. I gotta, so my stream setup, when I have a guest on, I have to set my cameras up a little bit differently. And then for my normal streams, my cameras are different. And so I have to I'm redoing my cameras. Stand by, folks. Stand by. One day I'll have 5 cameras, and then everything will be really easy. But until then, this is how we do things. There, see, now we got the coffee cam. Okay, cool. And I'm gonna turn that bad boy on. Well, it used to be mini cam. All right. Woo! There we go. Now we got the coffee cam. Okay, I got that. The cat cam. Okay, that's working. We don't need that one. That one's working. Coffee cam. That one's working. Okay, cool. All right. There, I got my cameras fixed. Thank you. Thank you for bearing with me. All right, let's do some questions. Whee! Questions time. Oh, David Davis, thank you for becoming a member, man. I appreciate that, buddy. Oh, there's a very important message from Penguin Butt in the spreadsheet. Please tell our guests that they can get into YouTube chat if the stream is muted. You're right, that's no longer relevant. I don't look at the spreadsheet when I have guests on. Usually, so. Oh, the Mr. Rex gives lore from older editions. I've seen a couple of their videos. Part of it is that 5th edition has been pathologically afraid to have large PC species. That's interesting. Well, the people who sell bags of holding would be out of business if you had higher carrying capacities. Oh, political posts. Oh, yay, political posts. I love that. That is like that is the one thing we can do without political agendas and political crap in our game. Jeez. All right, when does the new Kickstarter start? Okay, Fred. All right, I'm gonna hook you up with the latest information. I have to send out a Kickstarter update. So for the End of the Fae Kickstarter, here's the thing: the new Kickstarter that's in the works, Layers and Legends, is going to start as soon as we finish fulfillment for the first Kickstarter, End of the Fae. We just got to ship out the books and the other physical stuff. And currently, we're waiting for the books to be printed for End of the Fae. And the reason I literally, like, Kickstarter, the company, will not let me start my next Kickstarter, Layers and Legends, until I wrap up fulfillment on the first Kickstarter, Into the Fae. It's their rule. Like, I can't have more than one Kickstarter active at once. And so I have to finish fulfillment on the first one, right? So this one is Layers and Legends is dependent on Into the Fae. And Into the Fae, back in, it was like the beginning of December, the printer, I was like, hey, can I get an update on when the Into the Fae books are going to be finished? And they're like, yeah, January 4th. They're going to be finished by January 4th. And I was like, okay, that's wonderful. Okay. And then I sent messages on people on Kickstarter. And I was like, yeah, the book should be printed by January 4th. And now my 3PL, the logistics company that's helping me do fulfillment all around the world and crap, they messaged me a little bit ago and they're like, hey, can we get an update on this? And I was like, yeah, that's a great idea because these books should be done by now. And so I messaged the printer and I was like, hey, could I get an update on when these books are going to be done by, because they're overdue. And then they were like, well, first of all, they were like, oh yeah, these books were delivered. And I was like, no, they haven't been delivered. What they were actually I have a box of books literally right here. They were talking about these books right here, and I have more books for Into the Fae. These are the one shots. And then I have the actual Into the Fae books, so these things are real. They exist. Like, this is a real thing, The printer is just taking a long time to get the big, huge, massive batch made of these books. And so anyway, the story was I asked the printer for an update and they're like, yeah, those were delivered. And they were actually referring to the box of these books right here that I ordered from. I'm giving away some signed copies to different people that helped work on the project and stuff. And I wanted to have some extras just for me. So I ordered a small batch just for me, to have here. And they were referring to that. And I was like, no, that's not the one I'm talking about. It's this one here. And then finally they got back to me. And now the new time is, now they're telling me January 28th. January 28th is when the books are supposed to be printed. So it went from January 4th. Now we're on January 28th. So yeah, so that's gonna push things back. And then what did they say? My 3PL. Anyway, fulfillment's gonna happen after that. So hopefully that would be in February. It should be in February that we can start doing fulfillment then. Yeah. So anyway, more delays printing the books. And it's frustrating because literally everything is done. Literally, I'm just sitting here waiting to get the books shipped to the 3PL's warehouse down in Florida. Just sitting here waiting, Yeah. So anyway, Fred, the answer is, as soon as we can get these books printed and shipped out to people, we're going to start the next Kickstarter. And we're just kind of waiting for that. I've been hearing things about like delays and stuff for different things and crap. I don't know. Probably blamed on the pandemic and stuff. So it could have to do with that. I don't know. But anyway, there's your answer, dude. Sorry. Yeah, the PDFs have been out for a while. You can everybody, all of the backers for Into the Fae have already gotten all of their digital rewards. We did that a long time ago. We did that back in August, I think. We did that in like August. Now we're just waiting for the printer to print books. Yeah, and then we'll be waiting for them to ship it. Really? There's a paper shortage? Oh my gosh. It's affecting all book-based Kickstarters. I didn't know that. Really? There's a paper shortage? Can you, if you have any links or articles about that information, if you could just send me a message with, I just want to read about it a little bit and get more familiar with it. If you have anything you can send me that I can read up on, I would appreciate that, because that helps me keep better informed about that stuff, you know, so that when I give people updates, I can, you know, sound like I know what I'm talking about. Like, oh yeah, by the way, guys, there's a paper shortage, and that's why these beautiful books are taking so long. Yeah, it makes me sound better. He's not a moron. Yes, they're very nice. Like the hardcover part of it is amazing. Very, very nice. The interior is super nice too. Yeah, they're very beautiful, dude. They're beautiful. You like that. Well, this is one of Ed's favorite images from this book too, right there. I just happened to open up to it. So yeah, these are very nice quality. I'm very pleased with the quality of these books. Yeah, so not disappointed at all. All right, let's get some more questions. Whee! Ednock N says, is it a problem if players start treating my magic shops as a vending machine, always looking for powerful items? Am I a bad DM for wanting to save rare or very rare items for future rewards? No, you're not a bad DM at all. That is, yeah, no. Okay, so I don't have magic shops per se in my game, but I definitely, we use the downtime rules from Xanathar's, and one of the options is buying magic items. And I have literally made, let me just show you. I have it bookmarked for downtime. Let's just go here, and this is one of the reasons we have a coffee cam. And oh dear. Okay, hold on a second. Where's my coffee? Where's my mini cam? Properties. My brightness is too high. I'm gonna fix this for you, so you can actually read it. There we go. And okay, here we go. I have homebrewed a few things for the buying magic items, and you will notice right here that not only have I increased the cost of magic items when you buy them from what they're listed here, because the price listed here is way too cheap for magic items. It's crazy. Oh my word. My players were even making comments about, wow, it's only 500 gold pieces for that magic item. Yeah, I'm gonna get that one and that one and that one and that one. So yeah, we increased the prices. And then rare, very rare, and legendary are not available. You cannot buy them as part of buying magic items during the downtime, which means that magic item shops wouldn't have them either. I don't have shops in my game. There are just people out there trying to sell them and stuff. But anyway, the point is no, you can't get the really powerful ones. You have to get those as part of adventuring, as part of going on quests. Now, what I would allow my players to do, I would totally allow them to do something like, hey, I'd like to do some research. There is this magic item that I want to get. Could I do research as a downtime to see if I can find out where it might be? And then they might be able to find that out, and then they'd have to go on an adventure to get that magic item. Oh yeah, I'm just, you know, it's in a dragon hoard or something. Or it was last known to be in the hands of, you know, X Archmage or something. I don't know. I'm just coming up with stuff. and then they could go on an adventure to get the magic item if they wanted to. And it would be a group thing. The whole group would need to go because we play group games, right? So no, I don't think that's a problem at all. And it's going to be, I don't think we should blame players for intentionally going to magic item shops and trying to find the items that they want. We should expect them to be looking for the items that they want. Now, they might always be trying to find powerful items, at which point I would literally just say, hey guys, the most powerful items are never going to be available in shops, ever. I mean, it's fine to tell them, and this is out of character. This is metagaming in a way, and we're literally just saying, guys, you will never find rare, very rare, or legendary magic items in a shop. You just won't. They only carry common and uncommon. That's it. That's all you're ever gonna find. And there's nothing wrong with telling your players that. That way, at least they know, hey, you know, I shouldn't just walk in expecting to find a defender +3 longsword and then be disappointed or maybe upset that I don't, because they know what the rules are. And you can explain to them why too. Nothing wrong with that at all. What is my greatest joy of being a DM? I don't know. It's fun. I enjoy creating adventures. I really enjoy looking through monster manuals, finding cool monsters, deciding which monsters are going to go into an adventure, making a map for the dungeon, placing monsters in the adventure and stuff. Designing the adventure is really cool for me. I really enjoy that. Yeah, I think that part's really fun. And then obviously when the players play the adventure, that's really cool too, because they're playing through something that I made. So that's cool as well. So that whole part to me is really, really cool. I like that a lot. Quasms, thank you so much for the $25 tip, dude. I appreciate that. We're getting closer and closer. We're raising money for Canines for Warriors. They help provide service dogs to veterans. So really, really appreciate that. Quasms. Uh-oh. Uh-oh. This is okay. JA485 says, I am about to run my first ever DM campaign. My wife has forced me into. Oh, your wife forced you into it. Hey, you know what? There are worse things that your wife can force you into. Let me tell you, if you have a wife who is forcing you into running a D&D game, that's a keeper, dude. Like, I would love to have my wife forcing me to play games. Like, no, you get down in the basement and you play video games. You go play your D&D game. You're playing a D&D game, all right? That's a good problem, man. You want that. So that's good, dude. You're off to a good start right there. She researched and found Princes of the Apocalypse highly recommended for first timers. I don't know why that would be recommended for first timers. I really don't. What are the cons of this module? So I played a little bit of it. I've played through about a third of the module, not read the module. Okay. I mean, I've read a lot of the module, but here's what I'm getting at. Somebody who has only read a module does not really know anything about that module. You can't recommend a module or talk to its flaws or its strengths or that sort of thing until you've played some of it. You really can't. Like, I know people will they'll get a brand new module and they'll be like, oh my gosh, I just got this module. Now we're gonna do a review of it. Before it ever comes out. You know, because they get advanced copies from Wizards and then they're just like, oh my gosh, advanced copy, we're gonna read it and do a review. You don't know a module to do a review or give your thoughts and opinions. I mean, you can, but you don't really know until you've run the darn thing. You need to run it with a group to actually be able to talk intelligently on how the module worked for your group. And then it's really only specific to that group and your iteration of it. So it's still like, you know, your mileage may vary anyway. But anyway, here's my point. I've played through about a third of it, and I can speak specifically to that third of it. And one of the things Prince of the Apocalypse has historically been touted as a strength is that it's a sandbox. It can be played as a sandbox. They could go anywhere. They can, and people get all excited because it's a sandbox. Let me tell you, running a sandbox module as a first-time dungeon master is not good. It is a horror. It is a train wreck. Like, do you really want to have an entire module of places and adventures and your players can go anywhere? Now I'm pointing at mine, but this isn't really a sandbox. It's not designed as a sandbox. You really, if you think that sandbox is a wonderful thing, a true sandbox is literally, you know, players can just kind of go wherever they want. They can wander around the map, into the world, this adventure and that adventure. They can go anywhere. That means that you need to prepare everything pretty much. Or you need to ask your players, where are you going to go next session so that you can prepare that thing. So that running that type of game as a first-time dungeon master is challenging, like incredibly crazy challenging. It's not something I would wish upon first-time dungeon masters. If you're a first-time dungeon master, you ideally want to run a linear adventure. Like Curse of Strahd is also touted as a sandbox. Now, Prince of the Apocalypse, here's the other crazy thing about sandboxes. They're not really sandboxes. And the reason they're not really sandboxes, I mean, you can go anywhere, but because each of the adventures is designed for a certain level of character, they're not actually sandboxes, because if you decide to go as a first level character, you're level 1, and you decide to go to the dungeon that's level 10, do you know what's going to happen? Well, you all die, or you get your butts kicked and run away. And then possibly as players, if that happens enough times, you get frustrated and you go to the dungeon master and you say, you know what? We're getting tired of going into the wrong dungeons that we're not ready for. Could you just tell us the happy path? Could you just tell us the right way to go, what order to run this module in? Because we're getting our butts kicked and this is very frustrating and we're not having fun. I've had that happen to me before. Literally, I was running Princes of the Apocalypse. Crap you not. This was my Sword Coast Guard game. We were running it as a sandbox, and I was giving them various plot hooks, and they could kind of go wherever they wanted to go, based upon which plot hooks I gave them. And I literally had a player come to me and say, Luke, I'm just really frustrated because I don't know where we're supposed to go, what we're supposed to do. Like, we have all these different leads. You know, could you just tell us what the next thing is supposed to be according to the module? You know, and so that player, and I don't know if the other players felt the same way, but at least the player that told me that was frustrated with the sandbox feel of it. You know, so it's also and of course I talked about it being challenging for a dungeon master. So as a new dungeon master, I would recommend you stay away from sandboxes as opposed to going toward them. That said, Prince of the Apocalypse doesn't have to be run as a sandbox. It isn't really a sandbox, in my opinion. You can turn it into a linear adventure very easily by controlling the plot hooks. You just don't tell them about the other places that you're not ready for them to go to or that are too high of a level for them. You simply give them the plot hook for the next thing, or maybe the next 2 things, and let them choose. So you can run it as a linear adventure. So I wouldn't worry too much about it being a sandbox in your case. I think you'll still be fine. Just control your plot hooks and give them the plot hooks to make it a linear adventure, and that'll make it much easier for you to run as a dungeon master. Now you asked specifically what the cons are for Prince of the Apocalypse. The biggest con, in my opinion, is how they designed that module. Somebody designed that module thinking they were all clever, and they were not nearly as clever as they thought they were. This is how they designed the module. There are 4 dungeons, okay? I have a cat right here who just wants attention. She's been hiding all day long, and now she has come out of wherever she was hiding, and she just wants attention. She's adorable. They designed 4 dungeons. They're essentially 4 dungeons, and there are spoilers coming for folks who don't want spoilers. Each of these dungeons has 3 levels. So there are 3 levels to each of these dungeons. And here's how it was designed. The first level of the first dungeon is for level 3. Okay? And then the next level down, if you keep going down, there are stairs that lead down or whatever. If you go down to the next level, it's actually designed for level 7. And then if you go to the next level down, it's designed for level 11. Right? And then the next dungeon over, it's the very next dungeon, you got to travel across the map to get to it. The first level is designed for level 4. And then you go down and it's designed for level 8. And then if you go down to the next level, it's designed for level, I'm doing math here, 12. All right. And then you go to the next dungeon and it's a similar type of thing. Every time you go down a level, the adventure is designed for a group that is 4 times or 4 levels above you. And so if you go to the first dungeon and keep going down, which makes sense to do if you're just clearing out a dungeon, then you're essentially going to be going into areas of the adventure that are way more powerful than you can handle if it comes to combat. So the way to actually run this, if you were gonna just resolve things with combat, which many groups do, is to go to the first dungeon, do 1 level, but don't go any further. Go to the second dungeon, do that level, but don't go any further. And then you go to the next dungeon and the next dungeon. And then you go back to the first dungeon and you go to level 2. And go back to the second one, level 2, and do that. And then after the 4th dungeon, level 2, you go all the way back to the beginning again, hit level 3. It's like, I don't know why you would design it that way. It's just, it's very, it might make sense in some way. Like, you know, you could say it's realistic in the game world, but it's very bad game design, in my opinion. So I don't know if there was something from the original, it wasn't called Prince of the Apocalypse. I'm drawing a blank on what it was actually called for some dumb reason. But it was based on a prior module, a very famous module, which makes me feel even stupider for not remembering the name of it. Ed, Goliath Cleric, somebody tell me, what module was Prince of the Apocalypse based upon again? I'm gonna like beat myself over the head when I see it because I should know it. What's the name of it? What's the name of it? I don't know how it's realistic, Miguel. I have no idea. Temple of Elemental Evil. Thank you. I appreciate that. I have no idea how it's realistic. I just don't know. Somehow they justified themselves for designing it that way. It wasn't because it made for good gameplay, that's for sure. Because it doesn't make for good gameplay. It makes for very poor, illogical gameplay. So my only other reason could be then that they somehow thought it was realistic. Because the idea is there's like a castle or something up here, or a monastery, and then as you get deeper, you're getting closer to a node. You know, there's the earth node or the fire node, and that has an opening, I believe, to the different elemental planes. And so as you get closer to the node, you're going to encounter more, challenging creatures. I think that's the idea. And then guarding each of the nodes is, I believe, a powerful NPC. And then at the node, you also have to fight, there's like Agramok, and there are actually 4 different special NPCs that are very high level that you fight once you delve all the way down to the nodes. So I guess it makes sense that as you get closer to the nodes that open up into those elemental planes of evil, that you're going to find these really tough creatures. And so that makes sense to me. It just makes for very poor gameplay, I guess. And I don't know how you get around that. Anyway, that's really the only con that I saw. I thought the adventures themselves, the dungeons themselves were really cool. We played through several of them, and I thought they were all really well designed. I enjoyed them. I thought they were really cool. You have Feathergale Knights, and then there's a monastery, and then there's what else? There was a castle that had some bad guys in it and stuff. I can't remember all of them. It's been a long time. But I thought the adventures themselves were really cool and well designed. I didn't have any problems with those. The only issue I had was that design I just talked about right now. Now, you can easily bypass that by having there be, the way down to the next level is somehow sealed or locked. and so the players are prevented from going down to the next level. You could do that, you know, give them some sort of MacGuffin that opens the way forward or something. It will feel very like forced is the problem, you know what I mean, to do that. So, but anyway, that's the con of it. But other than that, I thought it was fun. I thought the adventures in it were fun. I didn't have any complaints at all about them. So Aaron Floyd says, imagine if a SWAT room cleared one room and moved on to another situation before returning. Yeah, it's like you have 4 houses. There are 4 houses that you have to clear. You go to the first house, clear one room, and then leave the house. And then you go to the second house, clear one room, leave the house. And instead of clearing an entire house, you go to one room by one room, and you keep going back to the first house and you cycle through the houses. It's illogical. It's yeah. So that from a gameplay standpoint, it makes no sense. That's a good question, and it's related too. Where is that? Miguel says, now that we are talking about elementals, how do you run the elemental planes without being just, hey guys, here is another place made of fire, lava, or steam? Yeah, so if you just imagine that the elemental planes are just vast wastelands full of like clouds and floating boulders, or lava and lava streams, or just tunnels through the earth, then yeah, that's gonna get pretty boring pretty easily. The way I like to think about the elemental planes, I suppose, and I haven't done a whole lot of adventures there, so I haven't really thought about it a whole lot, is that they're just like the prime material plane, only it's elementals, which means that there are cities. There are civilizations there. Who lives in the cities? Well, if you have the elemental plane of Earth, you probably have Darrow, which are like dwarf-like creatures, and some other, you know, you might have Peck or Peaches. I think they're called Peck. Peck might live there. There might be entire civilizations there full of Peck. You might have some Earth elemental cities, or you could have a cosmopolitan city that has lots of different species that live within it. And so you have a landscape that has cities and towns and things like that on that elemental plane. It's not all just untamed wilderness full of elements. So I think that's the way probably to think about it. Well, I don't have a whole lot of experience with the elemental planes, so but off the top of my head, that's probably how I would make things up. I know that there's like a city of brass on one of the elemental planes and stuff, so cities and all that stuff do exist, and I think are the way to conceptualize that. An elemental plane of live streams? Oh yes. That is a very tired elemental plane. That's what people do on Twitch. People on Twitch are like streaming 12 hours every day, grinding away. Some of them make good money too, but good gravy. I know some of them that literally it's like pretty much every single day for 12 hours. That's what they do. They're on stream. And like, yeah, you're making good money, but good gravy. Hey, Zaichu, thank you so much for the super chat. I appreciate that. I wanted to thank you. Your videos helped me started campaign and we were having fun for like half a year. Awesome. Well, thank you so much. I'm glad to hear that, dude. I mean, I say it a lot, but the reason that we did this channel was to help dungeon masters and to run awesome games. And so every time I hear that it's helping people, I'm always very happy to hear that. So thanks, dude. I appreciate that. This cat is just, she wants her attention. My goodness. I have one hand now that's literally just dedicated to petting this cat. This is the cat right here. Mommy cat. She was hiding all day and now she just wants attention. Move to Rule says, what is the best way to run a linear campaign without it feeling like a railroad? Well, there's a difference between a linear campaign and a railroad. I have an entire video about sandboxes and railroads, and I distinguish and I describe the difference between them. So you can, I got cat hairs floating in the air around me. You can look at that video to get a better explanation of that. But what is the best way to run a linear campaign without it feeling like a railroad and keep things moving forward in the main storyline? So a railroad feels like a railroad. A linear game where you have adventures that this adventure goes first and then this one and then this one and then this one and then this one. That's not a railroad. That is not the definition of a railroad. That's a linear adventure. When things start to feel like railroads, it's when they have no choice around how they overcome those adventures. So you can run a linear game where you play this adventure first and this adventure. And the way to make it feel not like a railroad and not like they kind of don't have a choice about which adventures to go on, because hey, I'm a game master. I'm running a game. I'm designing the adventures. I'm designing the game. Like, the thing that I design is the thing that you run at the game table. Like, there's no way around it. This is the way it works. If you want to play a game that requires me to design something, you got to let me design that thing, and then you got to go play it. Like, this is the way things work. Unless you totally just ad hoc improvise everything, and there are some people that do that. I always question the quality of those games, and I'm like, I want to be in one of those games and see how good it really is. But anyway, but the way to make it feel like they actually have some choice, and actually to give them choice, is that you put that adventure there as a situation that needs to be overcome, but you don't dictate how they overcome that situation. So here's a castle. The evil ruler has stolen the princess, kidnapped the princess. I'm using some cliched stuff, but this is what you get. It's a live stream. I haven't had time to really think about this. So the ruler of the castle has kidnapped the princess, and your goal is to get the princess back. That's it. There you go. That's the situation. Now, you could just go through the front gates and kill everything. Beat everybody, kill them all, get the princess, there you go. You could try to sneak in and sneak by people, knock some guards out, go room to room till you find the princess, and then you get her out. But you don't necessarily kill everything or defeat everyone. When you allow your players to approach a situation and use different methodologies to overcome it and defeat the adventure and accomplish their goals, that's when it doesn't feel like a railroad, because you're allowing them to approach the situation however they want to, and you're not dictating to them how it must be done. And I think that is the way to run a linear campaign and not make it feel like your players have no choice. They don't really have a choice about which adventures to go on, but they do have a choice about what they do in those adventures. So, yeah, that's how I would recommend doing that. And there is nothing wrong with running that style of campaign either. There's nothing wrong with that. If you go on Reddit and other online forums, there are people that are going to talk crap about that sort of campaign all day long. And they'll call it a railroad, and they'll say that it's horrible. And then they will say that, oh, you should run a sandbox. Sandboxes are where it's at. Rah. They love to give lip service to sandboxes, and they love to disparage linear adventures, and they'll call linear adventures railroads. 90% of campaigns that are run are probably linear campaigns, and especially campaigns that are run by new dungeon masters are probably linear campaigns. Any module that you get, almost any module, is a linear adventure. Why? Because you can't design the adventures in here for specific levels of PCs and not have it be linear. Like, if there are adventures in here for level 1, when you're level 1, that's kind of what you got to do. When you're level 5, you should probably be on the adventures that are for level 5. And if you skip around too much, well, then game balance suffers. And so modules are usually designed as linear adventures. And even when they say that they're sandboxes, well, okay, Curse of Strahd is a sandbox. That's great. When they enter Barovia at level 3, if they go straight to the Amber Temple, good luck, because it's probably not going to go too well for you. Sure, it's a sandbox, but there are consequences, such as a TPK, if you go and do that. So, yeah, I I think the people that disparage linear adventures and tout sandboxes as like the only right way to do it are, sometimes I wonder if they even play the game, honestly, or if they're just repeating what they've read on the internet. And I don't know. I have questions about that sort of thing. Like people can run sandboxes, and a lot of people do, you know. But yeah, I don't know. There's nothing wrong with linear campaign. Nafam, thank you for the $15 super chat. I appreciate that, dude. Question is, let me mark this in here. The best introductory adventure for newer players: stay in town or right into the dungeon? Is that 2 questions? I'll treat that as 2 questions. I ran through Waterdeep Dragon Heist. We got through almost the entire thing, and then I had to stop running that game. And I thought it was great. I thought it was really, really good. You do have some problems, such as an intellect devourer at level 1 that will instantly kill one character. So there are some problems in it, because Wizards loves to do that. Level 1, you're level 1. Crazy stuff that's gonna kill you. So, but it was fun. It was lots of fun. I think that's a really cool adventure for newer players. It has a lot of your classic elements. There's some flexibility in it too. There are some parts in it, especially I think it's either chapter 2 or chapter 3, that might be more challenging for the dungeon master, but it's definitely a good module for new players, in my opinion. Stay in town or right into the dungeon? Well, there's always a dungeon, in my opinion. It doesn't matter if it's a dungeon in town, if it's the sewers, if it's a castle, if it's a house, whatever it is, or a tavern, they're all dungeons. You know, it's a location-based adventure. I would start in town, because there's a lot of good stuff that happens in town, and then you go into the dungeon, wherever the dungeon happens to be, and that's where you have your adventures. Uh-oh. We're getting the family-friendly warnings. Being bad. Sandboxes are massively overrated. They are. They are. I always wanna like one of these dudes on Reddit who just goes off on sandboxes being so awesome and linear adventures being railroads. I want to play in one of their games one of these times. I want to see how good their games actually are. It's like, okay, I want to see how well you improvise all of the time, everything, because you don't plan and you just, well, I mean, there's the right way to run a sandbox, and I think I mentioned this not too long ago, is to have stuff prepared, but just you have everything prepared. That way, anywhere they go, you have it prepared and it's ready to go for them. I don't think most people do that. I think a lot of people who do sandboxes just improvise everything, but I don't know. It's almost cat trip time. Yes, it is. Thank you. David Davis, question. Do you ever have table meetings to see how everyone is enjoying the game and what direction to go in next? We had one about 4 months ago and it was helpful. I used to have table meetings where I would ask players questions directly about how they're feeling about the game. I have transitioned more to using surveys like SurveyMonkey or Google Forms, because the anonymity, I think, gives me better answers as to how people are enjoying the game. That said, participation rate on online surveys is never 100%. So you're always going to have players that don't give you any feedback when you do an online survey. So the advantage of doing it at the game table, usually after the game session, end your game session like a half an hour early and then ask people for feedback. If you start your game session with feedback, someone's always late, and so they never give you the feedback because they got there late. And then also, if the feedback is perhaps not that great and doesn't make you feel too good, that game session might not be super fun for you. And yeah, so do the feedback at the end of a game session if you're going to do it in person. And the great thing about doing it in person at the table and getting feedback is, like, you know, if somebody's not talking, you can say, hey, Jim Bob, what do you think? What's something you like about the game? What's something that we can improve about the game? And then you go get that feedback. So yeah, I've done those before. They are useful. They're always useful. They're always useful. Every time I get feedback from my players, it's always been useful. Now, you don't always implement every piece of feedback that you get. You might have a player who's like, we don't get enough magic items. I think we should be getting more magic items. You might go back and analyze the amount of magic items you've been giving out, and you're like, you know what? I one time I was like, you know what? I have been stingy. I probably should give some more out. But many times you might be doing something after analyzing it, you think you're fine, and your player just wants something, and you're just like, no, that's not what I'm going to do. So just because you ask for feedback doesn't mean that you need to do what they ask you to do. This cat, this is what's attention. She's like climbing up my leg. But think about it. Get their feedback, analyze it, think about it, be logical and rational and say, hey, should I make a change here? Or is everything okay? Because sometimes everything's okay and your players are biased in the same way that you're biased, so everything grain of salt, Oh, it's cat trip time. It is. We gotta do that. Well, Noah Rice, you're saying you're gonna make an Acquisitions Incorporated style game in your troop, maybe with a bit of a sandbox involved, but also linear. Still don't know entirely what would be a good level to start. So level to start, yeah, whenever you want. But the trick is the Acquisitions Incorporated style works really well because what you could do, you could make this, and here's kind of the way to do something that's both linear and a sandbox, is that you give your players options. For instance, if I'm running an Acq Inc. game, I say, hey, here are 3 contracts that your mayordomo has brought to you. You can go do this, or do this. And you have a high level description, the reward, and stuff like that. And then you tell your players, you get to choose which contract does your group want to go do. And they look at them and they think about them and they're like, we're going to do that one. Okay, cool. I'm going to go prepare that one for our next game session. Next game session, you run that one. It's not always that clean because sometimes you end a contract in the middle of a game session and they're going to go do the next one and you're like, crap, I haven't prepared that one yet. So you might need to, if you think that, like, if you're in game session 3 and you're pretty sure that they're going to finish their contract in the next game session, you want to ask them beforehand, hey guys, I know that you haven't gone to your mayordomo yet, but you're going to finish this probably next session, so I need to know what I'm going to prep. Here are the options. Could you just tell me which one to prep? Yes, it's out of character. Yes, it's whatever, but you need to be able to prep your game. So you can run both a sandbox in which the players have options about what they're going to do, and it's still linear in the sense that, you know exactly where they're going next and you can prep for it. So technically that's sandbox, but it allows you to prep for this stuff ahead of time. And this is what I do for my Curse of Strahd game. I'll tell my players, hey guys, they literally have so many plot hooks. You have all of these plot hooks. Which one are you going to do next? So I can go prep it. And then they'll tell me. And usually they don't change their minds. Or if they do, I give them a hard time about it. All right. It's cat trip time. We're going to do our cat trip. I have at least 2 cats here that are lining up for it. This is our cat trip right here. This is Cat Crack. It's very, very beautiful. Before we do our cat trip, I'm going to play a video here that's going to show off some of the features of Lair magazine, all the cool stuff that you get. But my team and I publish Lair magazine every month to my patrons, and it is very, very cool. Super, super high quality, usually 50 pages or more of DM resources. You get adventures, traps, magic items, villains, a whole bunch of really cool stuff. And we do like monthly hangouts. My patrons also play D&D with me. So if you're looking to support all of the free resources we do around here, such as the videos, the live streams, and all that kind of stuff, and also get premium content, 5e resources that you can use in your games, consider becoming a patron. There's a link in the chat where you can go check out all the different things that DM Lair patrons get. I'm going to show a little video right now that kind of shows off Lair magazine so you can kind of see what all it gets. And then once we get through that little video, we're going to do a cat trip and it's going to be beautiful. I gotta go find their little thingies. Yeah. This content is brought to you by Lair magazine. Are you a busy dungeon master without enough time to create content for your D&D game? Would you like professional, pre-made 5th edition adventures and other resources you can drag and drop into your existing campaign? If so, Lair magazine has exactly what you need. Every issue of Lair magazine comes with 2 5th edition adventures, maps designed for use on virtual tabletops, and other dungeon master resources. New monsters, puzzles, traps, magic items, NPCs, pre-made encounters, and more. Become a DM Lair patron today to get a new issue of Lair magazine every month, along with loads of bonus content, such as additional 5th edition adventures and map packs with even more digital maps. DM Lair patrons also get extra perks, such as playing in D&D games with me, voting on the videos I make, access to my VIP Discord channel, a monthly video hangout over Zoom, and more. Click that link below to learn more and become a DM Lair patron today. Okay. We have here the happy carrot and the banana right there, baby. And we're gonna get them all hooked up with some catnip. All right. These guys have seen better days. Eventually, we're gonna have to get some new ones. All right, we have a bunch of customers. Here's another one. I'm telling you guys, live stream nights are my cat's favorite nights. They get cat treats, they get catnip. They look forward to these live streams. All right, I'll be right back. Mommy. I scared mommy. She was falling in love with the banana. Jeez. Oh, we are doing a giveaway tonight too. I haven't talked about it a whole lot, but we're doing a D&D book giveaway. So there should be a link in the chat somewhere. Thank you. Where you can go sign up for that. We'll draw the winner at the very end of the live stream. Oh, you've been posting links all night? Okay, cool. Thank you, Penguin Butt. I appreciate that. I have a timer too that like, you know, posts it every so often as well. Holy crap, Kirby, dude, thank you so much, man. They tipped $50. That's awesome. And also tonight we are raising money for, I'll go to their webpage. I haven't actually shown their webpage. So we're raising money for Canines for Warriors. The nation's largest provider of service dogs for veterans. So basically what they do is they take dogs that from high kill rescue shelters. So basically shelters where the dogs would probably be euthanized. They rescue them, and then I'm assuming they go put them through training and stuff so they can become service animals for veterans. Veterans who are suffering from PTSD, brain injuries and stuff like that. So it's very, very cool what they're doing. So all tips go toward Canines for Warriors. Our goal is to raise $500 for them. And then once we get the $500, we do a donation and we pick a new charity. We just donated $525 to All God's Children, which helps orphans in, I believe it's Nigeria and Guatemala, but I might be getting my countries confused. Sorry, I have a bad memory. Yeah, we do lots of charities for veterans and for animals. Historically. All right, we got that one. Oh, we had a super chat. Jesse's Girl. Welcome, Jesse's Girl. Hello, how you doing? Thank you for the $5 super chat. What about adding a murder mystery to the start of a campaign? I am trying out DMing and still outlining the storyline. Yeah, go for it. I don't think there's a problem with that. You know, murder mysteries are going to involve a bunch. Murder mysteries probably are going to hit on the exploration pillar of D&D a whole lot, because you're snooping around, you're poking around, you're trying to find clues, there'll be a lot of social interactions too, because you're talking to people and trying to figure out what's going on, and then you're going to hunt around and stuff, and then probably at some point you're going to run into the bad guys, you're going to get closer to who did it, and then you're going to start to have combats probably where you're fighting them and stuff, you know. So yeah, I think that's perfect. You know, there's no and I think too that one of the things I would like to be better at, honestly, is running a wider variety of types of games, of types of adventures. Many of my adventures tend to be pretty normal, like there's a bad guy, go defeat him, which I guess is like a high level plot of most adventures, but I would like to have more variety in the games that I run, I think. So that's probably a challenge for me to get better at. But yeah, murder mystery, do it. What I was trying to drive at is a variety of different types of adventures is cool. You know, so a murder mystery, as opposed to your standard go into a dungeon and kill everything, would be cool. Yeah, so do it. Rock on. Steven, what's up, dude? He says, hello, I'm watching with my 2-year-old and he is paying more attention to the cats than his TV with Blippi on it. Oh, really? Cool. Well, Steven's son, check this out. We have Squirty Pie rolling around. Look at her. He's like, I love the catnip.
The catnip's very good. I like rolling around in it.
Yeah. Little guy's just guarding the banana. He got scared. He's like, I'm not guarding it anymore. I'm going away. This is my cat's favorite night. It's like, oh, we get treats, we get addictive legal substances. This is the best thing in the world. Got that one. What do you want from a campaign setting as a dungeon master? I want the framework of the setting that gives me enough information to get started, enough information to run the game, and gives me ideas, ideally ideas for adventures and how they can be implemented in that game. Essentially, if you look at Eberron, I think it's Eberron the Last Rising, I think that's what it's called. But the Eberron campaign setting that they put out for 5th edition is spectacular. It is so very, very good. All campaign settings should be designed like that book, in my opinion. And I would be a very, very happy camper. Contrast that with Sword Coast Adventurer's Guide. Worst campaign setting book you're ever going to find in your life. The thing's a piece of flaming garbage. So yeah, not that. Eberron, yes. Eberron, yes. I don't need every single detail in the world in the campaign setting. I can make details. In fact, a high-level picture of things is ideal for me because when you give me too many details in the campaign setting, I feel like I have to follow them. It's a psychological thing and it makes it harder for me. Whereas if you give me the high-level picture, kind of like Eberron does, in my opinion, then it gets me started and then I can create the details myself and flesh things out. And that actually is more freeing to me as a dungeon master. It's more work, but that's the sort of work that dungeon masters usually enjoy. And so we don't call it work, we call it a hobby, we call it having fun, we call it preparing for our games. So that, in my opinion, is the ideal thing. Something like Eberron. And also the, what was it? What's the book that came out? The Ravenloft book that has a bunch of the different domains of dread listed. What is that called? Like Ravenloft or something. I don't know where I put it. Okay, Van Richten's Guide to Ravenloft. There we go. Van Richten's Guide to Ravenloft. Like I have to look and try to find the book. I have so many books. I can't remember their titles. In that book, they detailed several domains of dread. And I think one criticism that I've seen of that book is that they don't give enough detail about those domains of dread. And I kind of like that they don't give too much detail on those domains of dread. Because, again, having a high-level picture of things gets me started, and then I can flesh out the details. I can make those details. So I don't mind that a whole lot. That to me is more of a feature, not a bug. They could have, instead of giving a high-level view of, I don't know, 15 different domains of dread, they could have just fully fleshed out like 2 or 3 of them. But then we wouldn't know anything about the other ones. So I kind of like the approach that they took on that. So that, I think that is a good way to go, in my opinion, how they did that. I like that. Thomas Allen, thank you so much for the $10 super chat, dude. I appreciate that. What's the most creative way that you've seen a DM introduce the PCs to each other for a campaign? The meeting in a tavern thing seems stale. I like both cats and dogs. Glad to donate. Well, thank you, dude. I don't know that I've seen a lot of variations on that personally. I don't even know if I've heard of a whole bunch of different variations. So I don't know. I literally made a video on introducing characters in a tavern. Let's start in a tavern. I think if you look up Let's Start in a Tavern or something on my channel, you'll probably find that video. The thing is that I know that starting in a tavern is like cliched, in a trope or something, but you know what? There's a reason that happened, because it's a really good. Lots of good things happen in taverns, and it's a meeting place. It's the watering hole. Everybody goes there. It's a natural meeting place. It allows you the opportunity to meet the PCs, talk to them over a cup of ale. You're going to hear about rumors and things that are going on in the city. You can get into a little scuffle with some bully or something. So there's a lot of really good things going on in a tavern that you could replicate them elsewhere. You just need to hit on all of those things. You know, you need to make sure you're checking off your boxes. So I don't honestly have anything off the top of my head for the most creative way I've seen DMs introduce PCs to each other. Nothing really jumps out at me. So sorry, got nothing for you. I also have a bad memory, so there's a good probability I'm not gonna remember it even if I've seen it. Move to roll. Thank you for the $5 super chat. I appreciate that. Thanks so much for the advice. Love your videos. Thank you, dude. I appreciate that. That's a really good point. Somebody asked a question and Ed says he recommends that question for a Discord. Yes. So there was just a Discord. There was a link to our Discord posted in chat. If you're not on our Discord, highly recommend you join our Discord. Very, very cool. There are tons of veteran dungeon masters there that will help answer your questions and help you with your games, etc., etc., etc. We would love to have you there. It's very welcoming. It's family friendly. You're not going to find jackwads there being jerks and doing. We don't tolerate that type of behavior. The moderators are amazing. So if you want to come to a very friendly, welcoming Discord server about D&D, get questions answered and stuff, because there's only so much I can do, and you're always going to have more questions than I can answer. And besides that, like, we have people on my Discord that probably answer questions better than I do because they have more experience and they're more analytical and stuff. I don't know, you know. So come join the Discord. Lots of cool people. It's very fun. So yeah, thank you. We get rid of jerks and jackwads. Yes, yes, we do. They don't last long. Friendly neighborhood dork. Hello. How would you play out a cleric's use of divine intervention? The cleric of my campaign reached level 10 and plans on attempting it quite often, seeing it as an end-all be-all to a conflict. It's not an end-all be-all to a conflict. I think if it works, if it actually works, have it replicate a high-level spell, I think is probably the way to go, and then give the person a saving throw. You can't just divine intervention, clear out the entire dungeon. No, it doesn't work that way. I would have it replicate a high-level spell. It might be a 9th level spell. It might be a really powerful spell, but the deity isn't going to intervene and just be like, yep, we're just going to clear out the entire dungeon for you. So that way you don't have to play the game. Because here's the other problem. Here's the, in my opinion, the biggest problem with wishing something like that from your deity is that you don't get to play the game. It's like, we have an entire adventure here, and the first thing the cleric does is divine intervention. It worked! Aha! I want the big bad and all of his lieutenants dead and all of the minions to disperse so that there's no longer a problem here. And if the problem is if the deity gives you that, you guys don't actually get to play the game. Like, did you not come to the game table to play the game? Don't you want to play the adventure? Don't you want to play the game? And as the dungeon master, I'm sorry, but I spent 5 hours preparing that adventure, and then you divine intervention it and just wipe it out. That is unsatisfying to the players, probably, I'm guessing, and it's not gonna be satisfying for the dungeon master, So yeah, I would have it replicate a high level spell is the way I would work that. Let's go back to something from the beginning of the stream. How do you, as a DM, how do you maintain law and order in a city when a PC tries to steal from every shop? You literally you have NPC policemen, the watch. If they get caught stealing, the merchant's going to report them to the watch, and the watch are going to come and be like, hey, you just stole something, you're coming with us. No, I'm not. And they try to resist. Okay, then you have a little battle. If the PC loses, they go to jail for a while, and they probably get executed because they attacked the police force. That's an execution in medieval times. Guarantee you. Or if they defeat the guards, well, then the mayor or the lord of the town is like, wow, we have a group of powerful adventurers who just killed a bunch of my police officers. Well, you know what we're going to do? We're going to put a contract out for their heads, and we're going to get another powerful adventuring group, mercenaries, to come get them for us. And so you just play that through. you know, you would end up playing that game because of a player that wants to steal from things and break the law, and then you have to enforce consequences. If you don't enforce realistic consequences like that, then they're just going to keep on stealing from everything, you know. But that's the game they decided to play. Steal from shopkeepers, get caught, and then have legal ramifications. That's the game they chose, you know. So the unfortunate thing is that they would be pulling all of the other players into that game. Like you have the thief who's stealing from stuff, and the other 4 players who are like, you know, dude, can we just not do that? Like, I just want to go do the adventure and stuff, and you're stealing and getting you in trouble, and then you're dragging us into it and stuff. I don't know. If the other players weren't keen on that game, they might just leave the thief by himself to deal with it. I don't know. Michael Iglesias says, I'm about to run Curse of Strahd. I wanted to know if you did anything to adjust the magic items in the campaign, plot oriented or otherwise. Yes. If any of my Curse of Strahd players are listening, you probably want to stop listening for a second. I did change some of the artifacts. The 3 artifacts that they gather, I made a tweak to a couple of them, I think. Yeah, but that's it. I'm not gonna go over the exact details, but I did tweak them because one of them was like crazy, insanely powerful. You'd be able to turn undead like crazy maniacs, and then yeah, it was way overpowered. Turn undead is already super powerful. Which is ironic. The cleric has only used turn undead a couple times, and every time he uses turn undead, it is massively effective in the combat and helps them so much. I don't know why he doesn't use it more. Maybe, you know what? They actually don't fight a whole lot of undead in Curse of Strahd, now that I think about it. Yeah, that's probably why he doesn't use it more. There usually aren't that many undead. But it's very powerful. So yeah, I did tweak a couple of them. And that's within the DM's prerogative. Obviously, the module is just the framework and guidelines for you. You can change it how you want. Uh-oh. Let's go back down to here. All right. Dawson Elk. Hey, thank you for the $5 super chat, dude. I appreciate that. Last week during your non-Q&A stream, what did I do last week? Oh, the adventure building. Yes. I asked about terrain, like a smooth brain. Chat was so helpful. I'm halfway done with the build. Thanks. Oh, dude, that's awesome. Thank you so much, dude. I mean, chat was helpful. Yeah, I have lots of cool people in chat too. It's like our Discord. Lots of awesome people willing to help. I remember that too, because you said that, and I was like, dude, I'm not doing Q&A tonight, man. Come back next week. But chat helped you, so I'm happy. Yeah, there are tons of YouTubers out there that do terrain builds. I don't remember their names offhand because I don't make terrain myself, but I've seen tons of YouTube videos, or I know of them, where they like make terrain and stuff. But yeah, I'm glad you got your help, dude. Dylan Jussie, thank you for the $10 super chat. Appreciate that. I've got a monk in my campaign that wants to multi-class as a wild magic sorcerer. As long as they have the prerequisite charisma, monks usually don't have a 13 charisma. So I don't know if they're going to make the prerequisite for that. But anyway, that's another topic. No question here. Just please raise a glass to all the dice rolls I'll have to arbitrate from here on out. Oh, magic wild sorcerer. Yeah, but that could be interesting. I had a player once play a wild magic sorcerer, and they didn't play it for very long. I forget exactly what happened, but it was always exciting when we got to roll on that table. It was always exciting. By the way, too, the dungeon coach has a wild magic table that has like I think it literally has 100 different wild magic surge possibilities. So if you just type in dungeon coach on Google, it'll go to his store where you can get that. I don't know how much it is, probably a couple bucks or something, But if you want a more interesting table with more options, then definitely check out the Dungeon Coach. I could probably find it really quick for you. Let's go over here. The Dungeon Coach. Yeah, he has like a website right here. And then I think if you go to, he probably has a store. YouTube, Patreon, Discord, Kickstarter. Where's his store? Oh, PDFs. There we go. One of these things should be. Here we go. Oh, it's a D300. You guys, it's a D300 Wild Magic Surge table. Yeah. So go check that out. I'll put a link in the chat. Oh, I can't. Stupid OBS sucks. Anyway, yeah, you saw how I did that. It's 300 Wild Magic Surge table. So yeah, that will be more interesting than what comes in the player handbook. So there you go. Oh, thank you, Goliath Claire. Appreciate that. Or Ed or whoever got it. Thank you. Oh, Amber's has it. Sweet. I'm like, ooh, I should charge him a commission. I'm gonna send him a message and he owes me a commission on that sale. The dungeon coach and I are friends. We talk all the time and stuff about YouTube and stuff, about business and whatnot. I have a video coming out. When does that video come out? Is it next week? I have a video coming out. It's a spoof on the dungeon coach. It's the best thing in the world. So you got to watch that video. Is it next week? Yeah, it's Tuesday. This coming Tuesday is my dungeon coach spoof video. So it's great. So many sports metaphors. It's beautiful. It's beautiful. It's a beautiful thing. Oh yeah, he was at LairCon. Yeah. He's really tall too. I'm pretty short though, so everybody's tall to me. All right, let's get some more questions here. I'm gonna go back in time a little bit. Tandem asks, if you TPK a level 5 to 6 group dies, do you have them reroll at level 1 or go back to level 5? If I have a group that TPKs, they start at the exact same level they died at. So if they were all level 5 and they died, they roll up new characters at level 5 and we keep on playing the game. Usually the exact same campaign. Usually that new group goes back to the same dungeon and picks things up. You know, and we can, there are so many easy ways to make that happen. Like, oh yeah, you guys heard there's this really bad guy who's doing this really bad thing, and this other group tried to stop him, but we haven't heard from them in a long time, so they probably failed. Do you guys think you can help? By the way, if that other group failed and died, all of their cool stuff might be in that dungeon. So yeah, you can easily make that happen. So that's how I would do that. Have you tried chocolate milk yet? I have drunk chocolate milk in my lifetime. Yes. Danny is 5'3". No, she's not. She's taller than that, isn't she? Penguin Butt's 5'1". Simpatico says Penguin is a mini human. Tanner is 5'11". I'm like 5'9" or 5'8" or something. Chief Matt says, what did Chief Matt say? I missed it. Oh, where did it go? Where did it go? The dungeon coach probably likes coffee. Oh yeah, I mean most people like coffee? What was somebody saying about LairCon? Oh, Penguin Butt was the shortest person at LairCon. Yeah, she probably was, but she was also in charge. So like people should be in mortal terror of her. Literally at LairCon, I was literally like, okay, Penguin Butt, You're in charge. You're running the show. You direct the forces. You tell us what to do. Emperor penguins are 4 foot. Uh-oh, mommy's attacking it. Up! And she goes off screen. You got a little too excited there. Octocryptic says, as an inexperienced dungeon master, how do you get over the fear that your encounters will become easier if you reward your players magical items? How do you compensate? You just make more difficult encounters. I mean, it's a legitimate fear, because as they get more magic items, they will be able to use those magic items to help them in their encounters. So it's a legitimate fear, but remember, you can just make your encounters more challenging. Higher CR monsters, etc., more monsters. There are ways to go overcome this, you know, so it's not that big of a deal. You just ramp things up a little bit. And the other thing too is also, and this is huge too, players have lots of magic items, but many times one of two things happens. One, they forget they have them and they don't use them. Happens all the time. And two, using their magic items competes with another desire that they have, using their cool spells and other abilities. They have to choose, are they going to use the magic item or are they going to use their cool spell or ability? And I have a group right now, my Ancient Dragon group, they have lots of cool magic items, but you know what? I don't see them using their magic items a whole lot. I see them using their own spells and abilities probably way more than their magic items. And I don't know if it's because they just want to use their spells and abilities more, or if it's because they're, you know, reserving the usage of the magic items for when they really need it. But they tend to not use them a whole lot. So I wouldn't worry about it too much. I wouldn't go crazy. I mean, I would still be, you know, intentional about how you're rewarding the magic items, whether it's keeping on the light side or a normal amount or heavy side. And then you just need to adjust things as needed as you go, based upon, you know, how powerful they start to become. But it's probably easier to give them the recommended amount of magic items than it is to give them way too many. And there are lots of other ways to reward players as well. By the way, we are planning on, I forget which issue of Lair magazine it's going to be, but we are planning on writing out an article about different ways to reward your players. So not just magic items, not just loot or gold or coins, but there are lots of other ways you can reward your magic items. And I'm planning a future video on the topic, and we're also going to put an article and lots of cool stuff in Lair magazine that's going to be on the topic of rewarding players in different ways. That are probably more interesting and exciting than just magic items and loot, which are the two traditional ways that we reward players. So, by the way, Lair magazine is, you guys probably know this, my patrons get Lair magazine every month, in addition to other patron rewards. So if you want to check out Lair magazine, there's a link here in the chat. It's essentially a compilation of lots of different high quality 5th edition materials that you can use in your games. You can get full-blown adventures with maps that are designed for use on virtual tabletop, and you get the image files for the maps, traps, villains, NPCs, new monsters. We do standalone encounters, lots of cool resources that are all professionally designed. My team works on them. My cat's running around like a maniac. It's very, very cool stuff. And when you become a patron, you also get cool stuff like you can vote on the videos that I make. We have monthly hangouts. You can play D&D with me. So there's lots of cool things you get as a patron too. So besides just Lair magazine, which is worth it just for that. So anyway, link right there in the chat if you want to check that out. Where can I get that DM mug? Can we do the mug command for Mabot? I think we have a mug command, don't we? Do we have a link to where the mug is? Pretty sure. Yes, our next Kickstarter, Layers and Legends, is going to have 2 books that has a compilation of all of 2021's issues of Lair magazine. And so yes, that's probably what we're gonna do. We might be able to do that each year, where we literally just take it and put it into books as well for people who want it in books. There's the mug thing. Cool. And it allows us to commission custom artwork and do lots of other cool stuff, add more stuff and new layout, make it all even nicer looking than it already is. May, it's the May issue? Okay, cool. Awesome. Kirby! Dude, thank you so much for the $20 super chat. I really appreciate that. What's your thoughts when a player randomly casts a spell like Augury? Do you embellish on the omen? Or similarly, if they do something else that lets a player get glimpses of the future, like on the fly, any tips? Well, let's look up Augury first of all, so that I can directly look at that. Let me take you over to here. Sources, game rules, spells. There we go. Come on, baby, you click that button. So this is a 2nd level spell. So that's the first thing I'm gonna think about. What level is the spell? Because if it's a 2nd level spell, you're gonna get limited information. If it's like a 9th level spell, different story. So this is the one that's basically, they ask the entity about a specific course of action you plan to take within the next 30 minutes. And then wheel for good results, woe for bad results, wheel and woe, and then nothing. Literally, this is what I give them. I've had players cast Augury a handful of times, and I'll think about it, and then I'll just say wheel, or I'll say woe, or I'll say wheel and woe. I don't embellish on this. I literally run this spell the way it says, because it's a 2nd level spell. I'm already giving you some good information about your future choice. So yeah, I'm not in this particular one, not gonna embellish at all. If they do something that lets a player get glimpses of the future, like on the fly, any tips? So you gotta be careful with glimpses of the future, because even though you're the dungeon master, you don't really know what's gonna happen. Like, what's actually gonna happen is gonna depend a lot on your player's choices. So you have to be a little bit vague about glimpses of the future. You might describe something, but you can't be super specific, because what your players decide to do is going to impact the future. So yeah, which is why I think the Augury spell is pretty vague. It's, you know, it's wheel or it's woe. It's a good thing or it's a bad thing, but that's it. It doesn't tell you exactly what it is. And the other thing too is that giving glimpses of the future too much can be a spoiler, and it can reduce the mystery and the drama and the suspense of not knowing what's going to happen, or not knowing what's over there, or that and the other. So you don't want to reveal everything out of hand to your players too, because that reduces the exploration pillar of the game. It's kind of like when the druid turns into a spider and then climbs around the entire inside of the dungeon and scouts out the entire dungeon, and then reports back to the party about everything that's there. And then the party in 15-20 minutes knows everything everywhere in the dungeon, kind of. And that right there kind of ruins the game for some people, because they don't get to explore. Well, first of all, they didn't get to play the game. The druid was doing it all. And their characters don't get to go poke around and explore and do anything. They just, okay, now we know the optimal way through the dungeon, and then we go do that, you know? And so that kind of can be a letdown to some of your players when that sort of thing happens. And so I view viewing the future and stuff like that in a similar way. And so you want to tiptoe around that and be careful. I know I'm being very vague in this answer because, you know, the devil's in the details in this specific situation, you know, but that's the high level advice I could probably give you, I think. See, this is why Ed is the best nugget ever. You just compared him to a chicken nugget. Wow. I don't know how you can do that. My cat agrees with me. Chicken nuggets aren't that bad. I'd rather go with chicken strips though. Yeah, illusion spells are really hard too. You know, if you're playing an illusionist, spellcaster, your spellcaster's either going to be really crappy in the game or okay in the game like any other spellcaster, depending on how your dungeon master rules illusions and how they have enemies react to illusions. Yeah, because there's so much like vagueness and leeway around them. Like if a spellcaster casts a minor image of something over here, how you have your monster react to that completely determines how effective it is. So yeah, it can be hit or miss. I had a dungeon master once that illusions were worthless. They didn't do anything. Like I cast an illusion, example, I cast an illusion of a pit in the floor. And I'm like, okay, I just made a big pit in the floor. The monsters are probably gonna stop and not just fall in a pit, right? And he was like, no, you can't cast an illusion on the floor that makes it look like a pit. Like you can't do that. It doesn't work that way, you know? And I'm like, why not? This is what I was, later on I was thinking about it and I was like, why not? Because I can literally, people do chalk drawings on sidewalks that make it look like it's a 2D sidewalk, and they do a chalk drawing and it makes it look like a crevasse, you know, like you're gonna fall down somewhere. Like why couldn't you do an illusion that makes it look like that? Now sure, maybe the enemy just, you know, checks to see if it's real or something and bypasses it or something, but you know, you could let that work. Maybe it delays them for one round. I don't know. But to have me do my action and then be totally worthless, that's what I'm saying. It comes down to your dungeon master and how they view illusions and how they roleplay them, whether your illusionist is gonna suck or whether they're gonna be halfway decent. And the way 5th edition does illusions too, where any physical interaction reveals it to be an illusion, makes a lot of illusions, unless you really think it through and are clever with your illusions, it makes a lot of the illusions pretty worthless. Because I make an illusion of a door. Okay, the monster is gonna go up to the door and try to open it. Well, then their hand goes right through it and they know it's an illusion. Okay, that was a bad illusion. Okay, I make an illusion of fire in the corridor. Okay, that's better because they're probably not gonna go run into the fire, right? They're gonna be like, is this, you know, I'm gonna touch the fire? No, nobody does that. They're gonna stop a ways away from it and be like, holy crap, fire. Now, on the next round, it's possible they'll be like, wait a second, fire. There's no smoke, and also no heat. Wait a second. And then they'll go and be like, there's no fire here. So that's a better illusion. It's more realistic. It might give them pause. Whereas a door, they're going to try to open it and immediately know that it's an illusion. Hulkhammer says, I think in the rules it says something like you spend your action discerning whether the illusion is real or not. Only if you literally just, I'm going to study this and see if I think that's a real mind flayer or not. But if I run up to the mind flayer and I attack it with my sword, I immediately know that it's an illusion because my sword goes through it. And most people are going to attack the mind flayer. Well, maybe not. Mind flayers are really nasty. They might not. They might just be like, okay, let's try to not get killed today. So that might work. Who knows? Do you generally personalize treasure and loot to fit your players' characters or lean more toward random loot? I do a combination of both. I do roll random loot, and I also personalize and handpick things for them. I did this recently for my Ancient Dragon campaign. I told my players, hey guys, if you have any wish lists for your magic items, let me know. Write it down somewhere and tell me where I can find it. And guess what? Of the 5 players, 2 of them made wish lists for the magic items that they would want. And what are you gonna do? So some of the players are going to get magic items that they want. Other of the players are gonna miss out because I literally asked them and I didn't get it. So but yeah, I do both. I have a massive pile of books right here in front of me. It's just weird to me to have books on my desk, like when I'm streaming. Usually I have a nice clean desk. Can Meridon have a cloak of displacement? No. Next question. Will we see a manual of the planes equivalent in 5th edition? Maybe. I don't know. It depends. If they stop publishing reprints, like how much time was spent taking all of the monsters that have been published in Volos and Mordenkainen's and freshening up their stat blocks and putting them into the multiverse book. Like, you had a design team, you had people working on that. They could have been working on a new product, but instead they were rehashing something that had already been published for 5th edition. Like you could get the manual of planes if they started allocating their resources differently, but instead they're remaking books like that, and they're doing errata for books. They have like, their performance I can't say that word. Performance. It's not Activision. I keep wanting to say Activision. Activision is the name of a computer game company. I don't know how to say that word. How do you say that word? Oh gosh. I can't. Performance. Activist. So it's activism. There we go. I got the word now. Performance activism. Yes. So if you dedicate lots of your resources toward performance activism and doing erratas and changes on things, then it diminishes the amount that you can create new products, is what it does. Activation? No, that wasn't the word I was looking for. TW300 says, Luke, that was the point of the book. It's for newer players' wallets. I would still probably recommend getting Volos and Mordenkainen's because the lore, according to it looks like all of the lore did not get transferred over into that new book. The monster stat blocks did, but not all of the lore. There is so much good information, especially in Volo's Guide to Monsters. The lore on hags and mind flayers and beholders and goblins and goblinoids and orcs is amazing. It's very, very good and will really help you design a campaign around any of those creature groups. So that lore is really well done. Mordenkainen's Mordenkainen's lore is really around the PC races, the playable class, the playable races and stuff. So it's less useful for a dungeon master. Yes, he got some lore around the Drow and the Dwerger and the Shadarkai. Okay, fine. That's useful for a dungeon master. But when you're giving me lore around gnomes and halflings and elves, it's dwarves, it's like that's not as, it is useful for a dungeon master, but not really. It's not really what I'm looking for. So the Knoll lore, yep, Knolls, they had that in Volos. Yep, that was good. Yep. Oh, the new Monsters Know What They're Doing came out. Cool. Those are good books. Yep. Highly recommend. Oh, I think, is there Cecily? I'm sorry, I can't really say her name. I don't know how to pronounce that. I'm bad. Is there actually a reason, official reason D&D books don't have PDFs and such? Yeah, pirating. That's the first thing, pirating of the digital resources. And they also want you to buy D&D Beyond. Now, Wizards doesn't own D&D Beyond. D&D Beyond is owned by a different company, and they have a licensing agreement with Wizards. But here's the problem. D&D Beyond is an online resource where you can get a digital kind of copy of the books, basically. So if Wizards had a licensing agreement with D&D Beyond, they would create the D&D Beyond platform. I forget the name of the actual, is it Fandom or something? What's the name of the company that owns D&D Beyond? I forget. But anyway, if they have a licensing agreement with D&D Beyond people who are making essentially a digital online copy of the material, but then at the same time, Wizards is selling PDFs, you know, that kind of undercuts people who would otherwise go buy, you know, a D&D Beyond subscription and or the D&D Beyond content. And so there's a business reason as well not to publish PDFs, because you'd be screwing one of your business partners and undermining their profits. So that's a bad reason too, but also pirating, absolutely. But they didn't stop the pirating. Like, dude, until they shut it down, there was a really big website that had all of the PDFs on it. People would just scan it in and crap, and they'd put it up there. So they're not gonna stop the pirating. What they're really doing is I would probably buy the PDFs from them so that I could have them for reference and stuff and have it be portable, because D&D Beyond is only good if you have an internet connection. So if I don't have that, then I can't, like if I'm camping or something, I don't know, there are probably use cases for it. So anyway, people like me would just buy the PDFs if I wanted to use them. But if you don't make them available, you know, then like, dude, you think I'm gonna lug around all these books everywhere? Gravy. Anyway, I don't know, they have reasons, they definitely have reasons. What would be your advice for someone starting a YouTube channel? Just start. The same advice for someone who wants to be a dungeon master. You just start. And then you learn as you go. And you learn as you go. And you focus on putting out a video. Don't try to make your videos perfect. Just put them out. Publish. Get content out there. Volume. Do it more. Get better. And then focus on continual improvement. Get better at scripting. Get better with your camera presence, your presentation. Get better at your video editing. Get better at doing your audio. Normalize your audio. Normalize your audio. Look up what that means. Very, very important. There are people with very large YouTube channels that don't normalize their audio. Drives me nuts, man. These are the videos where it's loud and you're like, ah, and then it gets really quiet because they changed from like this mic to a different mic or whatever. They don't normalize their audio. It drives me nuts, you know? So anyway, learn to do that. And you just continually get better. Accept that you're going to suck and nobody's going to watch your videos for the first 6 months or a year until you get better at it. Accept that, but it's okay. And accept that your channel is going to be small for a while. And that's okay, because when you suck, you don't want to have a large audience. You want to suck in private. You want to suck where not a whole lot of people see you sucking. And then when you actually get good and you get better at your presentation, you get better at delivering your content, you get better at scripting, and you get better at your ideas and the things that interest people, and you get better at titles and thumbnails are insanely important. You get better at doing your titles and thumbnails, then more people are going to come and you're better, and they stay because you're better. So it's okay, but it's a long, long road. It's going to take you a long, long time, and it takes some people longer than others. I was doing this for like a year and a half before it was a year and a half before anything started to pop. I know people like the Dungeon Coach, they started to really grow within the first year, and so it was a lot faster for them. There are other channels that when I was like super tiny, they were bigger than I was, and now I look back at those channels and they're the exact same place they were before. They got like 4,000 subscribers or something. They're still really tiny, you know, and they didn't go anywhere. But here's one of the things one of the reasons they didn't go anywhere. Einstein said that the definition of insanity is doing the exact same thing and expecting different results. So you can't do the exact same thing year after year after year after year and expect anything to get different. But if you're not satisfied with your results, then you try something different and maybe it works. And if it doesn't, you try something different and you try something different, you know, until it works. So anyway, you just start. If further reposting occurs, bonking will take place. You've been warned. Love it. All right, ladies and gentlemen, I think we're going to do our giveaway now. If you have not joined the giveaway for a D&D book of your choice or DM Lair store credit, please do so now. It is your last chance. We have lots of cool things over on DM Lair store as well. Do we have a link to the DM Lair store? Do we have one of those that we can throw down in the chat? We have the digital copies of Into the Fae are available. You can get the Into the Fae Ultimate Bundle, and it comes with the PDF. It comes with all the image files of the maps. It comes with digital tokens as well that you can use. Like a lot of people play on Roll20 and Fantasy Grounds, so it has the maps, it has the tokens, it has the PDF in there. It has like wallpapers for all of the artwork, which is stinking amazing. So you can get back issues of Lair magazine on the store as well. You can get standalone adventures on the store. You can get map packs on the store to use in your games. So there's lots of really cool stuff on the DM Lair store as well. There we go. We do have a link for it. Excellent. We have like 500 links. Well, a lot of links to the giveaway, I suppose. Okay, cool. Which link is not working? The store link is definitely working. And the giveaway link is working. Both links are working. Oh, the mug link? Oh, the mug link. Oh, well, sorry. I'll have to fix that someday. I'm so behind. I'm so behind in all my work. My day job is killing me. I'm holding on till March, you guys. Holding on till March. And then we're saying goodbye. I usually stream on either Wednesdays or Fridays. Wednesdays or Fridays. And we alternate every other week. So this week is a Wednesday, and then next week will be Friday, and then boom, 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 boom. We just alternate. What happens in March? Well, I don't know. A lot of people get bonuses in March. And then quit their jobs. That happens to a lot of people. It does. Oh, your birthday's in March? Sorority? Sorry if I pronounced your name wrong. Happy birthday. Yeah, I'm a scrum master. I'm a scrum master for a software development department. Yes, nuclear war, the end of the world. Oh, you turned 40 in March? Sweet, dude. I'm 41. Did you finally decide to do it? Yeah. Yeah. Gotta get out of there. I'm just holding on. Hopefully the bonus will be good. All right, let's do the giveaway. You turned 40 last month? Man, everybody's going 40. I look 30, no younger? Well, thank you. That's because of ruggedly handsome beard. You know, I pay for expensive haircuts. You know, it's clean living and going to the gym. Dude, seriously, exercise and not eating garbage does amazing things for you. Like, I'm not like slim, you know, or anything. I could probably lose like 50 pounds and be happier and healthier, you know, but I have seen people who like don't exercise, don't go to the gym and stuff, probably have poor diets, and it makes you look older than you actually are. It does. Not taking care of yourself makes you look older, and you probably feel older too, you know. I know there have been times when I kind of let it go, and you feel old, man, when you're not taking care of yourself. You do. Oh, I'm not doing keto specifically, but I'm doing something similar to it. That involves not eating certain types of carbohydrates and crap. So anyway, let's do the giveaway. You guys, we're just getting way off topic here. People are like, Luke, we want our book. Luke, shut up about your stupid diet and crap. All right, here we go. We're gonna draw the winner to the giveaway now. Drawing a winner. We're drawing a winner. Get rid of that. Yes, whatever. Goodbye. Woo. Draw a winner. Draw a winner. Draw a winner. Draw a winner. All right, here we go. Here we go. It's thinking. All right, I want to make sure we have a proper thing. It looks legitimate. Okay. YouTube screen name is Joel Meyer. I don't know if I'm pronouncing that right. Joel, are you still here? Joel, it's rigged. Simpaticos, whatever, dude. Carrie Sanders, thank you so much, dude. I'm happy to hear you like the channel. That's awesome. Thank you, dude. Joel, dude, are you still here? Joel, answer. All right, anyway, I'll send you an email, Joel. It will get you hooked up with something. There you go. All right, ladies and gentlemen, I think we're done. I'm going now. You all have a wonderful time. Thank you, social commentary. I appreciate it. All right, I will see you guys later. Next week, we're going to be live streaming on Friday. Come join our Discord. It's a beautiful Discord, wonderful community. Yeah, I'm leaving now. I gotta push the buttons. I'm pushing the buttons. It's been very wonderful. I'm gonna miss you all. Bye, Simpaticos. Bye, Penguin Butt. It's so sad. It's so sad.